I'm a rebel. Check. When I woke up this morning, I made a decision I was through with following. Boy, I'm doing something different on a mission. You're missing the point. Listen, while ripping the split, the difference between your life and a prison is giving a shit. You're giving an inch, you're taking a mile. Your life is a gift, you pay for your smiles. You can take a picture, but you can't take it back. You can take it now, but I'll guarantee you pay for that. Ha! Boy, I'm fighting like a rebel, dude. You're giving up, I don't give a fuck. It's something that I'll never do. Nah, it's not in my nature. I'm immune to these haters. Shit, I'm amused by these haters. I think it used to affect me. Lately it don't faze me though. This may be what pays me now, but mainly it's what pays my soul. Mainly it's what makes me whole. I take control, I take the wheel. I'm saying fuck a dream, I'll make it real. I don't believe in destiny. God decides who lives or dies, but I decide what's best for me. If I'm out in Vegas and faded, I'll probably waste a G. But if I'm in the Zay, then I'm staying and puff. I hate the weed, pray for me. When the band comes, tell them pray for me. You don't need to wait for me. Fuck if it ain't safe for me. I'm living for the right now. What are you doing in your life to make a difference right now? Check. I'm a rebel.
What you doing to change it? What you doing to make a difference? What you doing to change it? What you doing? Is this how you wanna live your life? Filled with all the complication and strife? Or will you stand up and fight what you know is right? Will you fight like a rebel? Fight like a rebel.
I'm a rebel.
What you doing to change it? What you doing to make a difference? What you doing to change it? What you doing? Is this how you wanna live your life? Filled with all the complication and strife? Or will you stand up for what you know is right? Stand up and fight like a rebel. Fight like a rebel. Stand up and fight like a rebel. Fight for what you know is right. Is this how you wanna live your life? Filled with all the complications.
other mothers gonna be enraged. And I gotta get out of this place. 'Cause everybody's funny and I'm feeling strange. You can say I'm alright. You can say I'm at peace. Every day is a mess. You did it to me, and now I can't see. You felt, I yelled, burned your photograph in hell. You spat, I cracked, as I tried to get you back. And I gotta get out of this place. All these other mothers gonna be enraged. And I gotta get out of this place. 'Cause everybody's funny and I'm feeling strange. You can say I'm alright. You can say I'm at peace. Every day is a mess. You did it to me, and now I can't see. I gotta get out of this place. 'Cause everybody's funny and I'm feeling strange now. You can say I'm alright. You can say I'm at peace. Every day is a mess. Now I need your release. You can say I'm alright. Oh no. You can say I'm at peace. I can't believe it. Every day. You did it to me, and now I can't see.
Hey there, fellow patriots. This one here's for all my brothers and sisters that do not appreciate all these elections being stolen by the radical left and the Dominion voting systems. They gotta go. Yee-hoo! Blame it on Dominion, blame it on religion, blame it on the fact I have a jaded opinion. Blame it on gas prices, on Joe Biden, on the avocados in my fridge that haven't ripened. Blame it on Fauci, oh God, how she blames it on the fact she woke up grouchy. Communist Party, blame it on a Barbie. Can't read instructions, so I blame it on a Sharpie. You like to play the blame game, it's what we do. Life on a chain gang, Papa never went through. I hear screaming gang gang in this government room, and we'll show them bang bangs. If you tell us what to do, we'll pop them bang bangs. If you try to take my rights, we're God-fearing Christians, but we like to get in fights. J6 was a party, they say it was a riot, and even though I've seen the footage, I don't fucking buy it. No, there's no way I buy that. Who knows what BLM Antifa false flaggers could have been there? It could have been anybody. It definitely wasn't us God-fearing patriots. Blame it on Dominion, blame it on Clinton, blame it on the fact I have a jaded opinion. Blame it on gas prices, on Joe Biden, on the avocados in my fridge that haven't ripened. Blame it on Fauci, oh God, how she blames it on the fact she woke up grouchy. Communist Party, blame it on a Barbie. Can't read read instructions, so I blamed it on a Sharpie. Squad went down to the elections office, knew something was wrong, so we had to go and stop it. Didn't see nothing even though we were watching, stalking and crowding all the workers like a mosh pit. Aw shit, just saw someone take a couple ballots, stuff them down his pants, but I caught it like a foul bitch. Why is the left always trying to steal my dreams? So I guess I'm still in one of these voting machines. I'm taking this with me. I don't care if it's illegal. I'm a patriot, and I need to know how these things work, and how they keep stealing our elections away from us God-fearing patriots. Blame it on Dominion, blame it on religion, blame it on the fact I have a jaded opinion. Blame it on gas prices, on Joe Biden, on the avocados in my fridge that haven't ripened. Blame it on Fauci, oh God, how she blames it on the fact she woke up grouchy. Communist Party, blame it on a Barbie. Can't read instructions, so I blame it on a Sharpie. Those Sharpies, they did not tell us how to use them. I did not know that I had to circle in the circle and that I couldn't just put an X through it. They should have explained that better. God.
Glasses. Yeah, I wear glasses, so what? I can make your whole fan base go nuts. Cause being nerdy is cool, it's time to grow up. Or maybe you a little jelly cause your flow sucks. And sicker than a chick sticking her fingers into a throat, trying to throw up all the donuts you binge in a split second. Recognition never been anything more than a record setter for eating all the donuts. I'm blowing up like a Samsung Note 7. I open fire, no handgun, no weapon. Damn son, I was rapping back in '07, back when I was trapped at the Catholic trying to go to heaven. And I was rapping with my glasses on, can't remember the last time I didn't have them on. So elastic with the lyrics like an epsilon, during that representation of my lexicon. So, get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Say, get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. 4 eyes used to be uncool, so I was a geek in school. My friend group was a cesspool of massive tools giving me shit cause I followed the rule sheet. I do you like I'm Alexander, I'll take your ass to school like I'm Bernie Sanders. I'm a chief commander, I exceed the standard. Why the cheaters texting me, I try to read my answers. Read too many books, I was 10 years old. Got a pair of specs and I said, here goes. They made me into a rejected weirdo and became the lens through which to see the world. So, a mechanism for correcting my retina, injected into my identification, and then I set in the precedent that nerdy was acceptable. My spectacles made me respectable. Oh, get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Say, get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. I'm only getting better and better, I'm feeling better, but that's your pressure to be the mainstream. I used to dream of getting a letterman, then when I ended I settled for making it in my daydream. But I'm cool now, strange as it may seem. We're living in the golden age of dank memes, and people dig it when I'm being eccentric, spitting nonsensical shit like I'm in a game of Space Team. Maybe I'm a legend in the making, cause the way my trade is so painstaking. But maybe it's the method that I shake it up. Shakespeare in your ass, the rap game is up. Smart isn't it, my heart isn't it? I'm delivering art for lyrics from start to finish. Stepping on your pedestal, kicking with a genitals, hitting you in the head, you can bet I'll be wearing my glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. Say, get off your asses, I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses. I'm a rap star, hit him with the glasses.
What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. You know what fucking time it is. It's time to watch the fucking establishment crumble with an episode of SUPES. Live and Unpausable. How's it going, my lord? How's it going, SA? How's it going, Postmodern? If y'all are still there in the chat, what's going on? There's a lot of shit going on. There's always a lot of shit going on. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. Suzanne Barrymore resigned from the Elections Commission yesterday. We have it on authority that Bev Gray is also going to resign. So hopefully it puts that completely out of commission. That would be nice. Because that's probably one of the most useless things that is going on in fucking Shasta. So we're gonna find our meeting video. They probably already started. Was it 9:02?
Nathan Blaze is not here, and this is still a shit show.
All right. Yep, they're up. I guess it would fucking help if I have a browser going. Okay, now I gotta go to
today of the boardroom rules of order as outlined in our administrative policy 1-101, which can be found online through the clerk of the board's website. This policy includes signage restrictions, attendee seating, and overall conduct to ensure business is conducted in an orderly fashion and that all have an equal opportunity to observe and participate in the board meeting. Unless addressing the board, all those in the audience shall remain seating in the chairs provided, standing along the back wall of the board so long as no person blocks the ingress or egress. Media representatives may stand and use their equipment in the designated area along the south windows. Conduct
Okay, I have to open this in another browser. That's what my problem is.
chairman appointments will be attended by the
There we
designated
go. Now I
alternate.
should, there we go.
Thank
Now
you,
we're
Ms.
cooking with
Blankenship.
gas.
At this time, I'd like to invite up Pastor James Ross of First Presbyterian Church to lead us in invocation, and then please remain standing as Supervisor Garman will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
On behalf of the First Presbyterian Church, the oldest church in our city, thank you for allowing me to pray this morning. Thankfully, we celebrate diversity in our community, so please allow me to pray in the matter of my faith. We appreciate, Lord, our freedoms in our country. We pray for our Board of Supervisors that they would set aside personal preferences for the good of the whole. And we pray for those who participate in our county who desire to share their opinions. I pray that they too would show kindness, courtesy, and patience with each other. And realizing, Lord, we have only a limited time and a limited abilities as doing political things, we pray that the change would happen in our hearts. In the name of Jesus Christ, my
You've been
master.
waiting all night for
Amen.
this. I appreciate that, my lord.
You'll salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
I give the Canadians permission to set this out. That's fine.
Thank you, Pastor Voss. Thank you, Supervisor Garman. At this time, we will move on to R1. Members of the public may comment on any item on the regular calendar before or during the board's consideration of that item. Members of the public may also address matters scheduled for public hearings at that time, such as are open for comment. Those wishing to participate in public comment for regular calendar items must submit a speaker request card to the clerk of the board before public comment on the beginning of that item. Each speaker.
Well, I'm sorry about that, my lord. I had a fucking long ass
cards
weekend.
Are at the back
Needed
of the room.
a
We will
day
start
of
with
R and
public
R.
comment. Don Duckett, followed by Christian. And that is all I have.
We're gonna start with public comment. Oh shit.
Good morning, Board. Don Duckett here. Chair Cry, it would be great if for this item in the future for you to hold public comment until after we've had the opportunity to hear the board reports for the week. It would give us an opportunity to...
I'll tell you what, if you want to pause, that's a great idea. If you want to take a seat, I'll call you back up. That's a great idea.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. I can be reasonable. Hey, Christian, we're going to go ahead and take public comment after.
Oh, after your presentation, gotcha.
Absolutely. That way, if you have any comments, you'd like to speak then. Okay, with that,
I feel like Kevin's probably going to
consider action on specific legislation related to Shasta
start
County's
reaching out a little bit, reaching over. You know what they said, like, I'm going to reach across the aisle
to attend the 2024
he
California
fucking better.
State Association of Counties, also known as CSAC Legislative Conference, in lieu of the new Supervisor Institute, as authorized by Ordinance Number SCC 2012-10, and 3, we will receive supervisor
it's not so much
reports
like
on countywide
reaching across
issues.
the aisle. It's
CEO Rickert, take it away.
It's more like not like
Good morning,
pissing
Chairman
everybody
Cry,
off so
members
they
of the
want
Board
to
of
fucking
Supervisors, Dave Ricker, County Executive Officer reporting.
recall
I
him
have one piece of
once a year.
legislation for your consideration. I would request opposition to Senate Bill 1328 by Senator Blakespear. This bill has numerous modifications to the existing California election code. While a lot of the proposed election changes are positive and will increase security with the election process, this bill has two major flaws. First, it would seal the records of the cast vote and could only be released by court order, which is very problematic. Also, this delegates a lot of ministerial functions to the Secretary of States to make decisions that before were enacted by state statute. So those two reasons, support a letter of opposition to that bill.
And Chair, I would make a motion that we would send such a letter up.
Okay, and I will bring that forward at a later date. Going on to other county business, I have no update from last week from the jail. I did attend last Friday the Shasta County Veterans Awards Dinner. It was a great event. There were 200 people there, and it's great that we are honoring our veterans in Shasta County. Finally, we have the request from two of our incoming supervisors to attend a conference that Chairman Cry had mentioned for your consideration, and that concludes my
Am I
report.
ducking the video now? Hello. Damn it.
CEO Rickert.
What the hell did I do?
Supervisor Kellstrom.
Okay, we're starting on this end now. Thursday, had another meeting down in Cottonwood with the developers.
I'll figure it out later.
And there was
Mary,
representatives there from Dolly's office.
is out on
well
medical
as
leave.
Lamalfa's office. And the EDC was also there. So I met the new leader of the Economic Development Committee. Again, it's a huge project. The developers kind of want to still keep it under wraps a little bit. You'll be hearing more about it very soon. Friday night, I attended some sort of an election party. I don't remember who it was for, but anyways, Friday night I was at an election party, and then
That could
Sunday
sum
I
up
had
his board
breakfast at the
report. He
Anderson
went out
Senior
and had a
Center
bunch of free food with a
down
bunch of
Anderson
people,
there.
and that's pretty
And
much
then,
all he does.
Tomorrow night there's a Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I'd like to address an issue that's happening up in Shingletown. I see our sheriff is here today, and I want to personally thank him, give him a shout out. So we had a horrific attack up in Shingletown. Private parties' dogs got loose. They're like wolf hybrids, and killed a family's dog on their property, and it was pretty horrific. Our animal control's been up there. They
just shot all the dogs.
What was told to be the leader of the pack from the individual that owned the dogs. They set out traps. Its emotions are very high. I contacted the sheriff, and immediately he got it out of press release immediately, which again, thank you very much, Sheriff. Some of the citizens up in Shingletown weren't real happy with it. There's literally a couple words in there. And again, emotions are extremely high up there. The people are scared. This pack of dogs has really been causing some havoc. But what they need to also realize is the sheriff's department and animal control's hands are a little bit tied because both parties have rights here. So, the individual that has the dogs that attack the other dog, he still has rights. He still has his constitutional rights. You can't just go in there and take his dogs without due process. So, it's a tricky situation. Again, very highly emotional. And so, Sheriff, again, thank you very much. The second press release that came out, I think, yesterday, hopefully calm some fears up there, and hopefully we can get this thing processed and over with. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Kellstrom. Supervisor Jones.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, CEO Rickert, for alerting us to SB 1328. To seal the records on the VoteCast record is exactly the wrong thing to do. We've known for the last several years that the VoteCast record is a very valuable tool for the public to watch ballots and watch votes, how they come in real time. And then you can take a look and see if there's any nefarious activity. By sealing this information, it's exactly one of the main tools that we use to see if there's any wrongdoing in an election.
So
And
basically what
it seems
PJ is
like
having
every
a fucking
time,
knip over is that
we hit
after a
upon
certain amount of
something here in
time,
Shasta County
the
and throughout
Secretary of
throughout
State,
the state
kind of
wants to pass an election law
requires you
to go
destroy
around us.
old ballots.
It almost seems like
So
it
they want to
every
destroy
single
ballots from
time. So,
2022.
hopefully SB
And
1328 does not
PJ,
pass.
for
and I
whatever
thank you,
reason, feels
CEO
like it's
Rickard, for
necessary to
alerting
keep them
that
around.
to us. This last week I was in court on my range, and normally I wouldn't talk about that, but I wanted to just bring it up briefly in that county council at the time, Alan Cox, was there just to alert the judge that the county would not be taking any participation in that matter, that I have my own private attorney, and from that moment on, my attorney will handle all the cases. Quiet, please. So I just wanted to allow the public to know that the county is not involved in that case. I have my own private attorney, and so I won't be talking about that going forward, but I did want to bring it up because Counsel Alan Cox from the county was there to make that very clear. I did attend Kevin Cry's victory party. There was very little food there, so I did not stay very long. There was cookies, I believe. Had another election integrity meeting, and again, these are held almost every week throughout the state, and a lot of good information there, very timely. And then yesterday, I did
but the
attend
election integrity
Shasta County Election
meeting that you
Commission,
attended
but
was
unfortunately, we
put
did not
forth by
have a
Laura
quorum. We
Hobbs.
had a couple members out, and I did want to, and on that subject, I wanted to make mention that my appointment to the Election Commission, she's also going to be resigning. She's given her letter of resignation for April 22nd. This will give me time to make the replacement so we have a good transition and continue to have a quorum. I have selected Patty Plum to take her place, and we will make that replacement either on the 23rd or the 30th, whatever that time will be.
Patty Plum, boo.
And then I also wanted to make mention that by request of Supervisor Rickard, Supervisor Rickard asked Ms. Barrymore to resign, and she has agreed. We will see if Supervisor Rickard replaces that position or not.
No,
that is
she's not
unknown
going
at this
to.
time. And Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you. Supervisor Garment.
Thank you, Chairman Cry. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a great weekend, and here we are on Tuesday. Attended the NorCal Children's Diabetes Club. We had a tie-dye party where we got to have the kids tie-dye blue T-shirts, which blue is the color for type 1 diabetes or diabetes. Really special that particular day. There was quite a few kids that showed up, including a newly diagnosed 8-year-old who was just diagnosed within the last 2 weeks. They've been out of the hospital for like 5 days and showed up at the event. It was really a fun time. This coming Saturday, there's also an event at 10:30 at Kids Kingdom. So if you know any kids with type 1 diabetes, send them out there at 10:30. It's supposed to be raining, but looking at the latest forecast, so we'll be under the structures there, somehow trying to stay dry. I also attended the Poppy Festival out in the town of Old Shasta. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the Town of Old Shasta Interpretive Association. They put on a great event. There was a huge crowd out there all day long. And I really enjoyed the time to get out there and talk with my constituents. And Joyce, if you're listening, I really enjoyed our time talking. It was a lot of fun. But they do a great event. You guys, if you've never been out to the Shasta Poppy Festival, they do it every year. Get out there and go. That's one of the things I've enjoyed about being a supervisor is it takes me out into my community even more so than I was as a private citizen. And there's so many wonderful events that happen in this county that we can all take advantage of. So get out there next year and check that out.
And Tim doesn't just go to them because there's free
I also attended
food.
the LAFCO meeting. That was yesterday. I met with Adam Fiesler at Resource Management. We talked about some code enforcement issues and some blight out in the area of Keswick. We're still fighting that as we have been since day one since I took the office. And we're not going to give up on that. Right now, we're trying to reach back out to the owner. If you all remember where the 2 buses were parked just before you get into Old Shasta, the buses are gone, but the trash is still there. There's a group of citizens, including myself, who want to go clean this up, but we have to get permission from the landowner. So we're still waiting on that to take place, and they're reaching out again from Resource Management on that part of it. Had a meeting with CEO Rickard. That was really good. And I just got a notification that Trash Day, we've been working on getting a free trash day for the community of Shasta and Keswick. Finch Gulch kind of already has one. I just got notice this morning that it's going to be on April 21st. They're putting the flyer together. Hopefully by the end of today, we'll have a flyer. As soon as that flyer gets together, we'll get it to the PIO and we'll get it up on our Facebook page and Instagram pages and get that blasted out to the community. I'll probably do a press release on it as well. because we want people to out in the community to take advantage of this and get each person can take one dump load in. So keep you posted on that. And the last thing I want to do is tell you guys, this is the week of the young child. We had a presentation last week. If you have children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren, or you know somebody with children, have them go to the First Five Shasta Facebook or Instagram page, and they'll find a QR code in there, and they can click on that and get all the events that are happening. These events are going to go all the way through Saturday, and they're all day long. There's different type of events with these kids. It is a great thing to do. So with that, Chair, it concludes my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Garment. These are in no particular order, but I attended on Saturday the Shasta County Chambers event up in MacArthur. That was actually a great opportunity for me. First time as chair, being able to get up to Bernie and Fall River and hearing some various business owners and even just some private citizens' concerns. A lot of things actually came around resource management and public works type of things. So it was great to be able to go up there, talk to the business community, see what things we can do to help them. And, if you don't drive out there very often, I would encourage you to do it. I mean, I haven't been up to Fall River probably in over 15 years, but you forget that sometimes that's still Shasta County when you're talking 2 hours outside of the heart of District 1. Also, Corky Harmon, candidate for District 3, was up there as well. I had a meeting with Joanna Franciscat, and as well as Laura Hobbs and Supervisor Garment and myself, just talking about one thing I think everybody wants to do, no matter what side of quote unquote the aisle you're on when it comes to voting, is be able to everybody come to a consensus and put it behind us and move forward, and that everything is fair, honest, transparent. And one of the things that came out of that, which I brought to CEO Rickard's attention, was the SB 1328. That was the first I had heard of it. One thing I will say, if you followed my particular election, weeks before the final ballots were cast, I actually said I would either lose by 113 or win by 245. But I said, realistically, I think I'll probably win by about 35 votes. And I said that 3 weeks before the final tallies came out, and I wound up winning by 50. The reason I could do that mathematically is you could look at precincts, you could look at voter history, you could look at when people cast their votes, and I could surmise very closely, and I had 2 or 3 other individuals helping me with that, but that's because we have access to the cast vote record. And when I heard that,
but you have access to the cast vote record without there being physical paper ballots.
Taking that away, I mean,
they're
that
recorded
is like
electronically.
Absolute opposite of what we should be doing when it comes to voting. I mean, we should continue to make things more transparent, more open.
It'll just get rid of paper ballots, and all of a sudden you don't know who voted
process.
for who in
So I
2022.
appreciate CEO Rickard getting on that so fast and actually putting it in your report today that we would send a letter of opposition for that. I mean, it just absolutely makes no sense why people would go that direction. The third item is I'm working with the sheriff's office on an item that we're going to bring forth April 23rd. I'm looking very forward to that. The sheriff's office has been great. The sheriff in particular who's here, so thank you, Sheriff. So that will be coming on the 23rd. I did have my event on Friday, but really that was an opportunity just to get people together and start having conversations. And really, if you attended, I know some of you did, my coffee on Friday at Kaleidoscope on Athens, 8 o'clock a.m. I do it every Friday. We had a reporter there from Dallas, Jessica from Vote Beat, and it was an amazing conversation because the way she came in to the event versus how it ended over 3 hours later, I think is exactly what this community needs. This community needs to start sitting down, having conversations, trying to understand other people's point of view. We don't have to agree, but we have to start really getting along.
Yeah, but most of us aren't really comfortable with you having that large of an audience outside of a supervisor's meeting, something that's going to sway your decisions when it comes to the board meeting time.
That was one of the things as chair that I was.
That's what makes everything a little
sus.
One
of the 3 things that were most important to me was improving the lives of kids and families. So with that also, there's a community schools grant that's working its way through SCOE, which we have no jurisdiction of, but we do take money as HHSA. So I'll be bringing something back on the 23rd concerning that, because one thing is I'm always going to be very, very loud when it comes to what we're doing to our kids and parental rights. So any chance this board, or at least I have, to mind that gap and protect our kids, I will. So be looking for that on the 23rd. Lastly, I met with Supervisor-elect Matt Plummer last week and had an opportunity to kind of sit down and hear some of the things that he wants to do in 2025. So that was positive. So with that, we will take public comment. Don Duckett. Oh, I had one more thing, Don. And I did meet with Joe yesterday as well as Dave Rickert, and welcome, Joe. So you bet.
Thank you, Chair Cry, and thank you for the opportunity for the public to comment cogently and relevantly on what you all have been up to this week. Supervisor Kellstrom, thank you for your report on the thing in Shingletown. A lot of us were really concerned about that issue. I do remember when my husband was city manager for the city of Shasta Lake, one of his least favorite issues to deal with were animal control issues because everyone's emotions run high. But I do think it's a good reminder for the public, if you're going to own dangerous animals, you need to keep them secure. And my heart goes out to the family. In terms of making a replacement to the Elections Commission, Supervisor Jones.
Please don't.
I have absolutely nothing against Patty Plum. What I am against is the county spending money and resources and time on a failed experiment, which is that commission. With the election results, the people have spoken. Supervisor Jones and Laura Hobbs were defeated, not by narrow margins, but they were clobbered. And I think the public has sent a loud message that we are growing very tired of the false narrative that our elections office is either corrupt or inept. It's just simply not true.
It's not.
Let's set this county up for success and concentrate our efforts on programs and items and commissions that will have a tangible, positive effect on the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you for your wonderful reasonableness.
I fully endorse sending the two supervisors-elect to the CSAC's
got all the locals in the chat today.
convention.
Fuck yeah,
I
what's
really
up, y'all?
hope that this board follows through with that, because to see this organization is a nonpartisan organization that is mandated to help supervisors to deliver the best services to the constituency possible and be fiscally use fiscal responsibility in the process. In fact, delivery of services vital to the public and services that we need is really the mandate of this board. The mandate of this board has nothing to do with using this platform to substantiate some sort of right-wing, far-right agenda, any more than a far-right or far-left agenda. It is a nonpartisan body. Getting supervisors up to speed is a no-brainer. It's ridiculous. This organization, I was a little shocked in
reset the router this morning, and I haven't dropped out once so far.
In CEO's Rickard's report that, hey, maybe we shouldn't, or maybe the board would choose not to send anybody to this organization. That's ridiculous. Absolutely. You know what? Shasta County is going to be a part of California for the near future. All the state of Jefferson, Greater Idaho, all this malarkey.
Greater Idaho, what's
needs
that?
to stop immediately. We are in California. You folks have no jurisdiction over that. You need to get your up-and-coming representatives up to speed. There's a lot of issues to take part in. And once again, this organization, if Supervisor Cry, Chair Cry, wants this board to operate in a cogent and civil way, then please drop the attack on elections. Drop the attack on the state of California. Drop the Elections Commission immediately that has spent tens of thousands of dollars. Taxpayers are getting tired of it. We need the money. to
That's
be
like
put
that's all they do. They sit
into
there and
other programs that are absolutely vital to this community. In closing, please send our two elected supervisors to the CSAC's meeting.
What's going on, DB
need
Cyclops?
all the help we can get. This board has gone sideways, and it's time for this stuff to stop. Thank you.
Moving on to R2, receive an
Sir,
update.
if I may, we do need a vote on R1.
Oh, yes, sorry. That was the 1328 letter, correct?
No, that was the written request from supervisors-elect to attend the 2024 California State Association of Counties Legislative Conference.
We got a motion for the letter.
Yeah. So we'll do two.
Do we need a motion for the letter? Because CEO Ricker said he would
By
just handle
consensus,
that.
we don't need a vote on the letter,
Yeah.
as long as we
Okay.
have consensus for the letter. So the only action I need is for number 2.
I'll motion to approve number 2.
I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. Passes. For that. Okay, Sheriff R2, receive an update
I
from
don't
the
think they
Sheriff's
should be able
Office
to mute their
regarding
mics
ardent
up there.
security,
I think they should
providing
have them
inmate security
fucking
services at locations
on all the
outside of
time.
the Shasta County Jail. This is sponsored
We
by
need them
myself,
fucking tidbits.
Captain Stonehouse. I have in my notes that you're presenting, but I see Sheriff Johnson here. But I see you pulling away. So, Stonehouse, it looks like it is you.
What's up, Val? Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Board. This is just an update on
Good
the
morning, good
Ardent
morning.
Security contract for services outside the jail facility. From October 20th of 23 until present yesterday, we have used them 9 times, which has a total of about 24 days for those 9 instances. And it has greatly impacted our operations in a positive manner. It has kept our deputies out of the hospital facilities. And a total number, I'm sure you want to know cash-wise, we're at $29,362.50, and that's about 5.5 months out of this contract.
See, so with that elections commission money, you could pay for
Appreciate
10
that. Does
months
anybody have
worth
any
of
questions
Ardent security.
One of the things for me sponsoring and bringing this forward is I've received quite a few questions about why are we not using our own deputies, and as if it was something taking
Because our deputies
jobs away
are
from deputies.
hella more
This
expensive.
This allows deputies to be either on patrol or jail or other areas. Is that correct?
Yes, normally we use our correctional deputies to go over there and sit with the inmates at the hospital facilities, and this allows them to actually do their work inside the jail facility instead of being stuck at the hospital.
Yeah. And Ardent security is considerably less than what we pay our own people with loaded labor and everything else, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So it saves us money and supports the sheriff's office.
Yeah, and on the contractual basis, the ebbs and flows of when we need them, it's just better and more positive for us as agencies.
Great. Thank you so much. For coming
Well,
on. I
my lord,
appreciate
I'm going to
it.
have
Any
to look
public
more
comment?
into fucking Greater Idaho because
We have Don
my
Duckett.
interest has peaked.
Pass. Christian.
It's fancy peak with
Terrific.
you and everything.
Come on up.
As in the past, I was privileged to work with deputies in regards to 5150 holds or hospitalizations or stuff at county fairs or whatever. And I get that. I am rather concerned that we don't have a sheriff presence here in these chambers. I see that as a real safety issue. In fact, in meetings like this, governmental meetings or legislative meetings, or offices, ladies and gentlemen, we know there are armed militia members in this building.
Right now, 20 feet from
Now, I think it's illegal, and I think
With guns.
I think we're going to find out real quick. However, I worry about. I really worry. Nothing against Ardent Security; they seem like very nice people, but I worry that my safety and the safety of everybody here is at risk. And, heaven forbid, The life or body is, well, we've already been threatened. Life and body have been threatened. Not only members of the public, but a few members of the Board of Supervisors as well. But God forbid somebody gets shot. And I would want the elected sheriff in charge of that situation rather than a private security company. Mr. Cry, I think this board really should support the hiring of more Shasta County
How about you just have like one deputy
sheriffs,
and then like support with
because the sheriff is
security
elected to represent
So it's
all
like having
citizens.
like
There's no
a teacher,
conflict
but
of
the student
interest.
aid
There's no
really, the
appearance
teacher's aid
of-
is really taking the
of
forefront.
favoritism or anything like that. I would implore that we have
You know what, we're
a
gonna be playing
union
here pretty
represented
soon.
sheriff in dangerous situations, and I do consider this a hostile and dangerous situation. I am concerned when you do take jobs away from sheriffs who are union sheriffs, who have benefits and a pay that represents the risk that they take daily. Instead of private security here within the chambers.
See, the problem is
wish,
they wouldn't have this issue
We would get a
if
little
they
bit more
weren't just,
information
like,
on that. I know
absolutely
that
dead set
the
on,
county
like,
has a
forcing
contract currently of
through
$40,000 to
people
provide
being able to
services
fucking-
here.
Oh, God.
Through Arden in these chambers.
Sorry, my brain just
I think that's
had
enough.
pain. I saw
All right,
something
so
that gave it
just so you know,
fucking
Christian,
pain.
the sheriff's back there. I mean, yeah. So Sheriff, come on out. And I'm
Anyway.
really sorry that you. I mean, it's almost like you didn't even listen to the presentation. But go ahead, Sheriff.
Chair, Board of Supervisors, thank you. Just for clarification for the public's knowledge, this came at my request. This was not, the deputies were not removed from the Board of Supervisors chambers at the bidding of the board. They were, took under consideration the proposal I brought forward to get those deputies out of the Board of Supervisors chambers and back to their primary duties. What was happening, excuse me, what was happening was our civil deputies that were coming and doing the security business at the Board of Supervisors, on which now is pretty much a weekly basis. Those civil deputies actually have duties, which we pay them for, to do like evictions and civil subpoenas and those processes. So once a week, what was happening was for that, what would be 10-hour, 12-hour day that they were working on civil stuff, they'd have to put that duty aside to come do the Board of Supervisors. And at the cost of the taxpayers and the public, it was made much more sense to have armed, ardent security come and replace those deputies, pull those deputies back to do their duties that they've been hired for. So I just want to clarify that that was not the Board of Supervisors asking to have that done. That was me asking to have that done for efficiency of the operation and for safety of the community.
And a cost savings.
At a cost savings. And if you fall right back to the ardent contract with the hospital and babysitting our inmates that go to the hospital, huge cost savings there as well. We're having to pay overtime to have people go sit at the hospital and then backfill people in the jail where we already had a shortage of staff and problems, as you know. And this has alleviated all that. These two moves that we've done, you've done, have granted, have been a huge cost savings for not only the county, but operational efficiency for the sheriff's office. So I'm happy for that, and thank you for that.
Sorry. The problem is that they want to. It's not
Sheriff, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's not
All right.
just this. Okay. Oops.
All right, moving on to R3. Discuss options.
Just 1 second. I have to see if I can get this thing to work because it's fucking making me crazy.
Sponsored by Supervisor Jones. Supervisor Jones, I'll turn this over to you since you sponsored it.
Yeah, and so when we take a look at the election code, what it does say is that that the ballots must be destroyed or recycled within 22 months. My
Dude, the DA's
request
office
here
is all
is
kinds
that,
of fucked up right now.
By board action, that we save the remaining materials that are available to us outside the ballots, which would be the envelopes, electronic images, and anything else related in the June 2022 primary election. The ballots,
I have
the way
no
I
idea why
understand it,
those
the way
are
I read the election code, shall be destroyed, but it does not say any of the other election materials will. And so my request here today is to save for a period, instead of 22 months, 60 months, all other election materials with regards to the June 2022 primary.
Are you putting that in form of a motion?
And I'll put that into a form of a motion.
So we have a motion by Supervisor Jones.
I'll go ahead and second it.
Okay. We have a second by Supervisor Kellstrom. Do we have any?
Mr. Chairman, before the vote carries on, I do want to talk about the election codes that are implicated. Election Code 17301 deals with ballots and materials that are related to a federal election. Election Code 17302, which are for local elections only, which have some different provisions. The election that you're speaking of has both federal and local. Ultimately, the definition of paper ballots is laid out in Elections Code 19271.
So basically what he's telling him is that whatever he wants doesn't really have anything to do with whatever the provision is, where you need to destroy federal election ballots within 22 months of an election.
301 and 17302 have provided a list of mandatory destructions. Those are voted polling place ballots, paper record copies, voted
I fixed it.
mail.
I'm an elite hacker.
I fixed it. Provisional voter ballots, provisional ballot, vote identification, spoiled ballots, canceled ballots, unused vote by mail.
Just give them a list of every Democrat in the county so they can dox them and harass them, please. That's what they want. That's just what they want. They want a list of all of their political enemies so they can shame them and harass them out of the county.
Specifically mention it.
Just give them what they want.
Okay.
With that, we'll move to public comment before we bring it back to board discussion. First up.
Well, now that I can fucking talk over these assholes, the thing about
Then Don Duckett.
the
Then Bruce Russell.
oh Margaret,
So with all this election snafu,
there's no snafu.
SB 132.
There's no election snafu. You guys are just stupid. Won't fucking just don't. You're mad.
So
you won and you lost.
And it needs openness. And in all honesty, there's a lot of things that can be done to make it happen. And the state, when they do egregious laws like this or try to manipulate, they disenfranchise all the voters. But transparency should be the key, and it needs to be priority.
I mean, how much more transparent do you want it? You want like clear envelopes?
Enough of a small margin to recount or double check.
Clear envelopes. Everything must be in clear envelopes.
Because 46 votes.
Right? Oh, they want more transparency. How much more fucking transparent do you need it?
Had to count.
It's hella stupid.
So there's such a
actual transparency.
And there's such rudeness.
I'm sharing the office with Monster today, and he's got a meeting at 10, so I'm going to have to cut off the audio, just my mic, and I'll chat with you in the chat. It's only going to take about 15, 20 minutes or so.
Congratulations, Chairman Cry, on the defeat of the
They want to escort everybody to each booth, take a picture with them holding their ballot with a newspaper with a date on it.
The department policies regarding observers, because there was a lot of rudeness going on.
There's a lot of rudeness going on because they won't let you stand 6 inches over somebody's shoulder and stare at them and fucking disrupt them and talk to them while they're trying to count.
And people are like, well, you should return it to the...
Oh no, it's what the fuck's her name, Carrie?
And I did have a little conversation on Facebook with somebody about the fact that when...
Yeah, she wants to say no to dark money, but they'll take, $500,000 from Reverge and Selmo.
Added into the count, she says, well, they were a discarded box. Well, somebody said, oh, that's misinformation. No, it wasn't. It was not misinformation. So there's a lot of problems here. So I highly recommend retention and preservation, double checking the work of the ROV office and any department in the county as well. It's necessary and it's responsible.
Dude, they won shit in 2022. Why do they fucking care?
But it has to
They're
be
so stupid. Oh, they're
any of it.
so
I
stupid.
don't trust any of it. And I'd rather have people look at it and with a microscope and a magnifying glass and a fine-tooth comb. Thank you.
Jenny.
God.
Don Duckett.
Oh, there comes Jenny.
Christian.
Here comes our fucking strawberry of doom with her beautiful, beautiful body camera.
Don Duckett. Bruce Russell. Christian.
Oh, where's Jenny?
Good morning, Board.
Where'd Jenny go?
I personally don't have any problem with preserving the records, but I would encourage you, if County Council is recommending that something else be done, to please
no
take
meeting
that
for her
advice. I wasn't sure if that was a recommendation on his part. Maybe a little clarification for the public would be needed. Also, if the records are preserved, I just want to remind the board that, only certain individuals and entities are authorized to look at those records. And if it's a matter of the DA or the sheriff looking into a fraudulent vote situation, I think the public is all for that. What we're not for is individual groups of election deniers going in trying to find ways to disparage our elections office. Thank you.
We're looking for solutions to a problem they made up.
Followed by Jim Burnett.
Good morning, Board. I just want to say that I think 22 months is ridiculously short to keep such important records. Probably the 22 months is just based on some politician's whim and thought at a time when we all thought our elections were secure, safe, and there was no fraud and corruption that we're seeing in our elections. And
like, they're not even sure, but they're mad about it anyway.
so slow and having whistleblowers come forward. Sometimes they don't come forward right away. You need time to deal with these issues. Take a look at our tax records. The IRS requires me to keep my tax records at least 5 years and preferably 7 years. And I think our election records are just as important as our tax records.
Just because the paper ballots are destroyed doesn't mean that the record goes away.
Keep these records. They're just so important, and we want to be able to look at it. It looks like the state is saying they're basically guilty. They want to hide everything.
No, it's not. You guys are so dumb.
When you're doing something wrong, you want to hide the truth. What is wrong with the people seeing the truth? And it's too bad you can't have a local ordinance for local elections that we can retain all the records for 5 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Christian, followed by Jim Burnett, followed by Ron.
May I remind the board, and Mr. Jones in particular, you have no jurisdiction over this, period. Zip, nothing, nada. Now, we know Mr. Jones and Kellstrom to a degree, Mr. Cry, they want to attack our elections. They definitely do, and they've proven it. I really feel that Mr. Cry is trying to figure out a way to work with the elections department. Mr. Jones wants, come on, let's be honest. We know what you want. You have no jurisdiction, period. Zip. Now, you have no jurisdiction over just about anything regarding the elections that happen here in Shasta County that are currently under the preview and law of the state of California. That's it. It's simple. There's nothing,
Previewed law, not prohibit law. There's a difference. Dolores will tell you.
Wish to comment on here is I would implore, in the interest of expediency, efficiency, and time, that we don't rehash issues that are not on the agenda and go through and through with all kinds of non-substantiated conspiracy theory malarkey.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say that. I was going to say it too.
And number two is nowhere even close.
I fucking fully admit that shit.
Not even close. Now, if we want to create harmony and figure out how to move forward, then we have the opportunity to reject such nonsense motions that you present,
she's there,
Mr. Jones, and move forward. You're not going to be able to sue the state of California with your elections commission or this body. Let's move forward.
Jim Burnett, Ron Pember.
Nathan Blaze is not here, and this is still a shit show.
Good morning. I'm here to show my support for preserving everything that we can for, 60 months. And like Bruce said earlier, everything else that we have that's important to us, we have to keep records 5, 7, 10 years, sometimes forever if it is going to benefit us. Something like this will always benefit us. It doesn't cost much to retain records, especially digital ones. Everybody does it, and I want to call your attention to just the fact that any good or bad bureaucracy, government or otherwise, people within that bureaucracy know how to hide stuff. And if they have stuff to hide, then that means that maybe later on it can be uncovered. And a lot of
Porters, can you imagine what it would be like if they have saved every paper ballot from every election ever because they were absolutely not allowed to destroy them?
And 3 years later, they may say, back in...
They'd have to put, it'd be like Mount Election. They'd have to put them on somewhere.
Then the evidence has been destroyed.
That's so stupid.
Think of this like evidence. The longer you can keep evidence of anything, and the longer that the public, through PRA requests, can have access to it. And maybe not everybody should have 100% access, but let the PRA system handle all of that. So I'd say, yeah, go ahead. Please vote to retain the records. Thank you.
The fuck?
Ron Pember, followed by Jeff, followed by Dolores. That's the last card I have.
Yes, good. Excuse me. Good morning. My name is Ron. Yeah, and the reason I'm here speaking is because they certified the election. And I'm very disappointed that the Board of Supervisors did certify the election. That's not letting us have our constitutional rights. And as a veteran, I'm offended. A lot of my brothers and sisters never came home, and that's why we have the rights that we have today. So when you certify that election, and we're not allowed to go in and look at things that are happening in the election, during the election, that's why we have failed elections. Because
there's not a failed election. Define failed election.
Another thing I'd like to see, why don't you go in and let the grand jury inspect?
No, leave the grand jury out of this.
They've already done it.
The grand jury would indict fucking Crayon.
You said no to the grand jury. So why don't you go in?
The grand jury would indict the Crayon. Laura Hobbs crayoned her lawsuit against Alan Long with
the elections and be there the night of the elections.
Fucking lore.
Tell the people that know that.
What's going on, Nathan, the creator of all the world's problems? How are you today?
You're deleting their rights. So, like I said, as a veteran, I'm irritated that you guys certified the election and let Kathy Darling Allen certify the election.
Oh, no.
We've been watching the stuff that's going on, and we know that it's being messed up. So, anyhow, thank you very much.
Nathan Blaze is not here, and this is still a shit show.
Jeff, followed by Dolores.
Dolo, is this Jeff Gorder? No, different Jeff.
Out of order. Oh, no, there it goes.
The cameraman backs it up on Mr. fucking humongous tall man.
District 4. I heard a word this weekend that kind of summed it up for me. It's called wonky. And it seems to be a real word. I looked it up, and when things aren't really up and up, and it seems funny. There's something not quite right about it. It's definitely wonky, and there's some wonky in the 22 election, especially in the early votes compared to the rest of the votes. Some of the statistics there are so out of whack. They've never happened before. Also, in this latest election, we saw the same thing. It looks like front-loaded elections, front-loaded ballots. The evidence is being stored right now, the 22 election. We got to keep those. They've been there for 22 months. Nobody's really looked at them. Why? Because it's so damn hard to get a hold of them and take a look at them. Not only do we got to maintain those records, we got to find a way to look at them. We just want to make sure that the voters and the votes and the counts of those voters add up and make sense. Right now, there's too many questions. The only way we're going to answer those questions is to take a look at them. So let's keep those records, take a look at them, and we'll all feel better.
But you guys have been looking at them.
Wonky out of there. Thank you.
Come on up.
But she's not there.
Patrick Jones.
She's not there, so I have to take her away.
Because it does apply to you, and it is a conflict because you do have a case pending, and Patty Plum filed for you in regarding the election. So for you to try to see these signatures, and for Kevin Cry also to be part of this.
This is about the 22 election.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
22. Well, just so you know, the 22 doesn't have to do with everything that you guys are doing now. So for you guys to talk about transparency and all these, your Republican friends over here, which I am a Republican, but the difference is they don't want to do what's right. That's the difference between me and them. But the transparency starts from you guys. And for you guys to try to override the laws or anything, it will be violation of civil rights. You can't do that. Any extra ballots, it should not be fault always to the election department. Those extra votes or whatever, the reason they get those ballots is because sometimes people don't change of address. We all know that. If you don't change your address, you're not getting mail. So for you guys to talk about groups, and I know it's the groups who wants to see what's going on and what's behind, the ballots and signatures and all that, because you guys do want to see that. Yeah, you do have the right, but you need to do it right without breaking the damn laws.
Please don't respond from the floor. Let the speaker speak.
I could speak, okay?
I was telling them this.
Okay, but every time you do that, you do it when I'm talking. You do that to interrupt me. I have a right. Do it after when I'm done. I hear them, okay? If I ignore them, that's my decision. But I'm saying that here you are, Kevin. You talk about transparency and doing what's right. Bring everybody together. Okay? Here's the thing. You're a hypocrite. You say one thing, you do something else. Yeah, shake your head.
Going to prison, I know.
Shut up, Kevin. Chris, I hate to.
Oh my God.
But
this is the closest I've ever come to a fucking spit take.
I never had taken that that position.
Fucking too much.
We are coming back we're coming back into.
What's up, Cicero?
Now Kevin
oh
is interested
God.
in, now he is
on
going
R3.
about filing to get the signatures. He wants documentation, how to get signatures from the election department. You send Chris a text asking for documents from me because you know that here it is. So those will come out. So you did. You asked them.
Send them to me, Dolo. I'll put them up.
Patrick.
All right. I have no other cards. Joanna, did I see you?
That was fucking hilarious.
Do we have a card?
R3?
No, we don't. There was no card submitted for R3.
But
actually, Washington, D.C. is calling me on the other line. I got to go. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I submit a card right now? Because I would like to speak.
No. Thank you. At the beginning of each item, the last 3 meetings we've talked about this. So now if you want to speak to an item, you have to submit that card prior to the beginning of that item.
Chair Craig, can I ask County Council on this matter? With regards to the Brown Act, if a person does want to speak prior to the vote of that, are they allowed to speak whether they have submitted a card or not?
The board is allowed to adopt rules, and those rules are mandatory upon those who come in. They have a right to speak, but they have a right to speak when the board as a whole and their adopted rules say they have a right.
Is it a requirement of the law to fill out a speaker request card? Whether we have that as a policy or not, is it a requirement of law?
There's no specific law that states that. However, there are specific laws that allow the board to adopt policies and procedures to conduct their meetings.
Okay.
So we're going to move on. Yeah. So we're moving on. No.
No, Laura.
We're moving on.
Bye. Bye.
Joanna, come on up.
Yeah.
After the meeting, I absolutely will. After the meeting, I absolutely will. Yeah, yeah. Hey, don't need your help, Christian. Thank you. All right, come on up, Joanna.
Good morning.
Don't
Chair,
ever call
members
me
of the
again.
board. I just wanted to provide a little bit more information to you before you make this decision. So in June 2022, we used the Dominion's voting system. That's proprietary software. And at this time, we executed a termination agreement that you guys approved that requires us to destroy this record as soon as legally possible. Also, for us to have access to the record, we need Dominion software. So we do not have that software in-house. We're only retaining it for court purposes. So at this point, unless we destroy this right now, and if you want to view this documentation in the future, we would have to reach out to Dominion, create a contract with them, get their software here in place in order for us to view these images or look at the documentation. So I just want to make sure you guys were aware of that before you made your final decision.
So they can't even use them without Dominion machines.
Yes, Supervisor Jones.
So for the June 2022 primary, have we still?
Okay, so I got to turn my mic off when I could chat with you in there, but Jerem Monster's got a work meeting.
Required by law to shred the envelopes as well. It's in the list of documentations at 17301.
17301 is with regards to federal elections, and it says that only the paper ballots are required to be destroyed. Non-federal elections, which is 17302, is separate. So the only thing that the way I read 17301 is destroying the paper ballot. It doesn't say, and that was a federal election. So I think there's a difference in the two there. So I still believe that we have the ability to retain at least the envelopes and whatever else that we can outside the paper ballots because it was a federal election, and that is 17301.
Can you, and counsel, can you, I'm not going to give Supervisor Jones legal advice, that's not my job, but just can you confirm 17301B4 for me?
Yes, 1730B4, vote by mail, voter identification envelopes are included. One other point for the board, and it would come up if this were to be approved. If the board votes to approve this item, it would be an advisory to the elected official. There are California laws which essentially allow you to oversee the elected officials, but when they have a mandatory duty under the law, they would be able to carry that out even against the board's vote. So it would be advisory, and our office would definitely discuss with the elections office what the board had brought forward.
Supervisor Garman.
Thank you, Chairman Cry. I think that probably answered my question, because my question was, is this our jurisdiction? And Johnny, you might stay up for just a second. Meaning, basically, if we vote to say, okay, we're keeping the envelopes, is it still her obligation to shred those envelopes under the law? Otherwise, are the elected officials over there going to risk themselves of being in trouble?
Well, so the elected official has the authority to exercise their discretion under the law. Ultimately, one other option here for the board is to direct staff to take legislative action to the state through the county organizations to make an attempt to change this law to match what this board would like.
Okay, I think that answered my question there. Thank you. That's all for right now. I may have more in a minute.
Chair, I have no other questions. We do have a motion. We do have a motion. It's been seconded.
So, Joanna, we talked a little bit about this. So now is Kathy going to be involved at all, or is this going to be your decision or working with you on this item?
Ultimately, this will be Kathy's decision. Right now, she's still the county clerk and registrar of voters.
Got it. So I think I'm good, but you can stick around if you want.
I'm here if whatever you need.
Okay.
So,
Supervisor Jones, so is there what part of this do you see that we can retain? Because I would like to retain everything that we can legally.
Well, I think by making this motion that it then allows us to have legal to dive into it a little more thoroughly to find out exactly what we can and what we can't with regards to 17301 and 17302. So I think it puts us in a good position moving forward. And then if it ultimately doesn't happen under the law, that's fine. But at least I would like to push this issue as far as I can. There shouldn't be, outside of the law, any rush to get rid of information, specifically the June 2022 primary.
Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, I'm fully want to save as much information as we can, but I think what Joanna just told us is that if we save the electronic record, we're not going to be able to view it unless we enter into another contract with Dominion. So it's just something to keep in mind. I mean, I want to save as much as we possibly can, have a record as much as we can, but just keep that in mind.
Well, and Supervisor Kellstrom, I'm not sure that isn't our information. We did pay for that contract. We paid for that. And so I still believe that is our information. They may be in control of it, but I believe it is ours.
The one thing is if you license software, and that license runs out, it's like Microsoft Word. I could have a great document in Word, but if I don't pay for the license of Microsoft, I can't access that Word unless I exported it some other way.
Chair Cry, I'd have to look back at the Dominion contract and see how it was done. And these are all things that can be done by the passage of this motion. I would like to take a look at that. Again, if there's nothing to hide, what's the problem with reviewing something?
Supervisor Garman.
Thank you, Chairman Cry. The cast vote record stuff that came up earlier, I'm not opposed to trying to send a letter of opposition there. But the rest of this stuff is nonsense. Mr. Cry, you predicted your election within 15 votes. You said 35, you're going to win by 35, and you won by 50. I just don't think there's anything going on in our elections that are nefarious and wrong, and I think that we need to stop all this. And I'm going to make a substitute motion to vote no on this, or to substitute. I guess I wouldn't even need to make that. I could just vote no. But it's because in order to bring this back, it's going to cost us more money, which we've already spent enough money in elections. We talked the other day. We want to put this behind us.
Well, I don't think it'll cost us more money. I mean, Joe.
Can we get Joanna back up here to answer that?
Well, Joe, do you feel? Because I know you just started yesterday. So, do you feel that you have the ability with your staff to look at this over the next couple weeks and just see if there's anything, any kind of gray area or any type of interpretation that you can come up with where you could then give? I don't want to say direction, but you could give advice to Joanna Francisca to give to Kathy Darling that, yes, there is an avenue to be able to do it. Here's where.
Definitely, Mr. Chairman. If this is approved, my office would look at these laws and the cases attached to it closely, and we would provide whatever direction to the elections office we could.
Okay. And those are fixed costs. So, Supervisor Garman, there is no additional cost. And one thing I know about.
If we have to read back Dominion, I would imagine there's going to be a cost associated.
Well, I disagree with that. I mean,
Joanna, would there be a cost with that?
No, I'm saying I agree with you. I don't want to bring back Dominion. I don't want to spend money on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So just, Joanna, go ahead and answer that question. Would there be a cost to bring back the Dominion?
well, to use the license, we have to pay for that use of the license, right?
Thank you. That's all.
But that's just one aspect of what's being requested. All right, so we have a motion.
So I'm a little confused about what I'm supposed to do here. So if you can.
Nothing. I mean, at this point, I mean, it sounds like you have your office, or Kathy Darling's office has jurisdiction to essentially, hey, Kristen, could you guys, if you could, because her mic's picking it up, so we're hearing. Her office, or Kathy Darling's office, has jurisdiction to do whatever she wants, much like when this board voted to certify it, it really was ceremonious because they can do whatever. So that vote, so this, they can do whatever they want as per election law, as an elected official. They've got their responsibilities. That's correct.
Yes, within
Hey,
the
do me a
law
favor.
that's set
I need
out.
your help.
Within the law that's set out, Mr. Chairman, they can act under that law without the authority of any other official.
That's right. Okay, great. So we have a motion and a second.
The first motion failed, or the substitute motion failed.
Well, he didn't have, there was no motion. Yeah. I mean, so really what this is if this board votes yes on this, this is just giving their office a couple weeks to see if there's anything. Joanna, when are those supposed to be destroyed? Like, when's the 22 months up?
It's already up, it's already passed, so we have it scheduled to be destroyed already.
Like, what's the day?
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
So let me ask you. So tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So it's 22 months. It does so as long as it's done by what was the day that became 22 months?
April 7th. So it shall be destroyed as soon as possible. And as a reminder, we keep all
And
records.
government's always completely on time.
So
just
to confirm, my staff are the hardest working staff in this, and we work really hard to make this stuff.
Absolutely. And I agree with that. And I'm not going to say they're not, but what I'm just saying is, so with 2 weeks, if there's a yes vote here, and there's 2 weeks extra, and then they fought, because I think that, because where the opportunity arises right now, I believe, is your office has that. There are some people that would really, that have questions about that. And I would like to put it to bed, much like Supervisor Garman and I talked about yesterday in your office. So if council's office has 2 weeks, I mean, he just got here yesterday. If we would be able to give him 2 weeks or a week and say, hey, look, there is no path forward. Because what this gentleman did in Yuba is one of the reasons I recruited him so heavily, is because when the government and the state said we're going to do this, his county, his leadership outsmarted them and beat them to the punch continuously. So what I want to give him at least a week to see if there's any interpretation where we can hang on to that, because like we said, it doesn't do any, there's no harm.
So if we do that, it's going to be additional shredding, because right now we're shredding both our unused ballots as required by law from this last election that we've had. I had to wait until after the recount process was done for that process. And so then I'm going to bring the company back again in a couple of weeks to do that. So that's where it's going to cost a little bit of extra money. But I can talk to Kathy Darling Allen and we can research this a little bit more. But just as a reminder, this is a federal election. We're following federal laws, not just state laws on this.
And what I'm saying, that's why I'm asking you. And ultimately, you guys will make the decision.
Ultimately, it will be.
And all I'm saying, this is an opportunity for that office, I think, to give some grace as to say, hey, look, we want to do what we can to work towards a resolution where everybody can say, okay, like, opposed to, I mean, because when you say that it's going to be shredded from the floor, could you just not? I mean, it's unreal.
So what's not in here is there's also like fines that are associated to elections officials if they don't follow the federal law. And so there's other things in play here besides just this here and just what our needs are right now. So we're trying to follow that law and have the highest integrity as possible by following and administering elections by following all federal, state, and local laws. And that's always our goal here.
Supervisor Garman.
You can finish. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't. I just saw that people were in queue.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I just want to clarify that. So following the law is the highest integrity. It's always been our mission here at the Elections Office, and that's always been the Registrar of Voters' goal, right? And so we want to make sure that we're following these laws. So.
Well, but you give out items to candidates, right? Like the CVR like you said that you don't have to give that out, but you guys choose to do that. Is that correct?
So the state has recommended that we don't give that out. And in fact, with our Dominion voting system, we've actually posted that on our website to make sure anybody that has access to that can have access to that. So, and that's because right now that's not a set law. If it becomes a law, then we have to follow that law.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense. I just was, from an interpretation standpoint, you know, I see what you're saying. It's legal. I feel like it's very legalistic, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, there's the spirit of it, and then there's the, and that's my question. You would know better than I would. I want to get to the people in queue. Supervisor Garman.
Thank you, Chairman. I just a little bit concerned. I just don't think we need to be chasing this. You mentioned, Council, in a couple of weeks you can look into this. You just started. You got a workload that's beyond our comprehension right now. To put you down and say, hey, oh, by the way, we have this to do in 2 weeks, or something that's not really a problem, is misusing your ability and your talents. We brought you here to help us out and get things caught back up. And putting you off with something like this is just, it's asinine, to be quite honest with you. I just don't think we need to go there. That's just my opinion. And I also would imagine that you guys in the registrar's office are going to destroy the records whether we want them kept or not. So are we going to spend 2 weeks on something that's been destroyed? That's my point.
Council Larmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be sure we have a motion and a second. I would ask to clarify the motion as to what the direction of the board is.
So my motion is to give you a couple weeks to take a look at what we can under Section 17301 and 17302, what we can keep longer than 22 months. My request is to keep it 60 months. And again, just, you know, and I believe 17301 Section 4B is the retention of envelopes, not destruction. And so those are the kinds of little things we want to find out. And so I hope my motion is clear. Is the second okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Supervisor Jones.
Well, that was good enough.
Okay. So I mean, the envelopes are essentially the one thing that we know that can be retained.
Well, let's look at everything that can, whatever information. That
I mean, at the end of the day, I would say the motion can be for, doesn't matter, 2 weeks, 6 years, doesn't matter. It's really ultimately up to the clerk's office. I would say.
It would be my intent that this would come back in 2 weeks. We don't have a meeting next week, so it would come back at the next meeting. I think that would be appropriate, and then a final decision could be made.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna support the motion, but the reality is, I would say Council Larmer would have pretty much to the end of the day or tomorrow to look at it and give any kind of, and I would just ask this, Joanna, I would just ask if you could honestly listen to their office. If they say, hey, there is a path, here's what it is, I would like Council Larmer to bring back and give us a report. I don't even think it needs to be, well, we can do it publicly. I guess it can be done in our legislative update, or Supervisor Rickert can give that at the next meeting of what the findings were. And you may say, hey, there was no path forward, documents were destroyed, or you may say, hey, there was a path forward, documents were still destroyed, or you may say there was a path forward and the office is actually opting to go that way, stuff wasn't destroyed, here's where we are. So that would be my direction or my ask. Supervisor Jones.
And Chair Croy, you know, and I still think under some of these election codes that the 22 months is for retention. I don't know if there's legally, is there a deadline to destroy? I think we'd have to read it that in depth, and that's what I would like in this, you know, to give us a little time to look at those things.
All right. Stephanie will take a roll call vote, starting with Supervisor Garman.
Supervisor Garman?
No.
Supervisor Jones?
Yes.
Supervisor Cry?
Yes.
And Supervisor Kellstrom?
Yes.
All right, moving on to R4. Receive a presentation from County Public Administration. I'm sorry. Let's start that over. R4. Receive a presentation from County Public Information Officer regarding the county's new customer service survey, sponsored by Supervisor Kellstrom. David, welcome.
Good morning, Board. David Mong, Shasta County Public Information Officer. Thank you for your time today. Here to present our new
community satisfaction survey. Instead of customer service survey, I'm calling it community satisfaction survey. I feel like it conveys more of an ongoing positive relationship instead of a transactional one like customer service may. One second. Do I point it this way? Yeah. This is why we don't use the projector much anymore.
Or you broke it, and that's why we
I know, I broke it again.
And you can't. That's why we can't have nice things.
Yep. We have new stuff coming in soon. Very excited about it.
Are you opening gum or is those batteries? Okay.
Just got to take it out of the TV remote and put it in the other remote, you know.
Go ahead and tell me when you want to.
Okay, sure. Next slide, please.
Dave, you want to know my satisfaction?
Yes, you'll soon be able to leave a review on this presentation via this survey. It's not going great so far, but hopefully by the end we get more community satisfaction in it. Thank you. All right, here we go. So as suggested by Supervisor Kellstrom, the county is rolling out a community satisfaction survey for residents who are served by the county departments to provide their feedback. While some departments already have similar surveys or pages that allow guests to leave reviews, this survey will enable feedback for all county departments and allow us to review it all in one platform instead of separate ones per department. Received feedback will go directly to the county administrative office and give us a bird's eye view of how we're doing across all departments. And the implementation of this survey will provide us with invaluable insights into the experiences of those that we serve, enabling us to identify areas of strength and also our areas for improvement. So to roll this out, flyers with the survey QR code have been distributed to all departments to display for guests in their lobbies or at their front desk. That QR code works now for anybody who wants to give it a try, test it out. And then the survey link is also available and featured on shastacounty.gov, our main Shasta County website, where the red arrows are pointing. I know there's a lot of information on the website, but you can find it currently in the feature slider or under the Our County tab. So the survey questions, it's pretty basic. This way we don't take up too much of our community time. And most of the questions do have that satisfaction slider ranging from very dissatisfied all the way to extremely satisfied. So the questions go, what department were you served by? What date did you receive services? How would you rate the friendliness and helpfulness of staff? Were your questions and concerns addressed in a timely manner? Did you find the information provided by the department clear and easy to understand? How likely are you to recommend this department to others? And then the last one is an open-ended question with a text field. Do you have any additional comments or suggestions for improvements? And that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
I have, sorry, Supervisor Kelso. I have one question on the date, where it has the date field. Can there be a drop-down populated opposed to having to type that in?
Yeah, we can do a drop-down probably with a calendar that you can find the exact date on there. And this, having the date will help us know who you were served by, what staff were there. It's an anonymous survey, but we like to know what staff were present while you were getting served.
Yeah, and is there the opportunity, because I'm going through it right now.
Oh, sure.
But is there the opportunity, though, where somebody can be not anonymous if they choose to be?
Yeah, I can add a field that's an optional field where they can add their name, or they're always welcome to add it in the last one, in their contact as well.
Okay. Supervisor Kelser.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, David. It's perfect. It's exactly what I kind of envisioned in the past. I talked to CEO Rickard a few weeks back and told him this was something that during the campaign that I was interested in doing. And then once I got here, I found out that there was several departments that were already doing it. I think what we'll find is the vast majority of feedback is going to be positive. I know the departments that I dealt with prior to being elected, I was very satisfied. I mean, during the election, I had to go to the county clerk's office several times for different things, candidate statements and whatnot. And while I was there, and I would pay attention and watching the people at the other windows and counters, and just about every one of them. I mean, actually every one of them that I do remember. I mean, they stood up. Some of them had to bring back papers, which they didn't have everything they needed, but. To a person, every single one that I saw stood up and walked away from the window with a smile on their face, and you could tell that they were satisfied and happy. And I think that's what we're going to find is the vast majority of our departments are, doing a top-notch job and are all going to get satisfactory. I'll hear out there in the public, a lot of times I'll hear, complaints about, and a lot of it has to do with planning and zoning and permitting and stuff. So the first thing I always ask them, I'm like, how long ago was this? Was this last year? And almost every time it's like, well, no, this is a few years ago. And I'm like, well, okay, we can't fix that a few years ago. That's a big ship that has been going the wrong way for a long time. They are turning it, and so if you have a complaint in the last year, let me hear about it. Don't tell me what happened 4 years ago. It doesn't matter. I couldn't affect that. So I think what we'll find is the vast majority we're going to get a lot of positives. Now there's some departments out there that, quite frankly, it's a negative experience every time you go to them, whether it's code enforcement or our situation in Shingletown. Somebody's dogs.
Tax collector would be one for me.
Tax collector would be one, yeah. So there's going to be some departments, and we keep that in mind. It may not be a joyful experience for anybody that has to go there, and whether they're paying a fine or paying a tax or something. So we're not going to go, oh, hey, everybody's unhappy at the tax assessor's office. We need to do something different. It is part of the it's the beast that we have. So, anyways, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you, CEO Rickert. This is exactly what I was looking for. Appreciate it.
Hey, David, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
The table goes 0 to 10 for not likely to, obviously, extremely whatever that was.
Yes.
If somebody leaves it blank, does it default?
I think it'll just say that question was unanswered.
Okay, and then how about 0? Is 0 in that table? Because a lot of times when those type of surveys go, 0 is also used as a non-answer. So can you make that 1 to 10 and take 0 out?
Yeah.
0, because if 0 is part of the table, people actually may put 0 thinking it's not, but it would skew the result.
I'll double check what happens on there because I can go in and test it out, but I can make sure that it doesn't leave an automatic bad review if people just don't fill it out, if that's what you're asking.
Well, that, but then also a lot of times in tables like that, for if you mark 0, people, a lot of surveys will say 0 is for a non-answer, but if 0 is actually like the lowest mark, I wouldn't want someone to put.
Gotcha. 0 is a non-answer, absolutely. Yeah, I can look into that and make sure.
So maybe just make it 1 to 10.
Yep.
CEO Rickert.
Dude, what does Kevin know about anything about anything? He doesn't.
This project, and also for Supervisor Kellstrom's direction and leadership on this initiative.
All right.
Default to excellent.
Anything else? Supervisor Garment? Nope. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And wait. There is public comment. Don Duckett, R4. Beautiful. Leslie Sawyer, R4.
Ugh.
Oh, yes. Super quick. I don't need 3 minutes. Thank you for being awesome and having a personality. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing exactly what you ran on. This was talked about your entire campaign, and you did it. You're delivering. I love you. Thank you.
Ew.
All right.
That's gross.
Thank you. R5. Receive a presentation from Support Services regarding the Shasta County Job Seeker Resource page. Monica, Director of Support Services. Fugit, come on up. There you are.
There I am.
Just teleported.
Good morning, Chair Cry, members of the board. Monica Fugit, Director of Support Services. I'm excited to share with you today a brief presentation.
Yeah, I don't know why. I have no idea.
Created on our county website, our Job Seeker Resources page.
No warning, jail.
We've been working hard to expand our reach to potential candidates and grow interest in careers in Shasta County. We have 2 talent outreach staff, Clint and Alex. Alex is here with me today, who have been promoting our careers at job fairs, schools, and more, and working on projects such as this to help make Shasta County jobs more accessible. So this new page is a dedicated resource center for all the job seekers out there who may have an interest in seeking employment with Shasta County or may currently work for the county and be seeking resources to help find a career change. The Job Seeker Resources page can be reached at www.shastacounty.gov/jobseekerresources. It can also be located by navigating to our Personnel Department page and finding it in the sidebar. The page will assist our candidates by providing a central location for the following. It provides opportunities for candidates to learn about various county departments and job classifications. It provides materials and resources to help our candidates prepare for the recruitment process, whether it's the application submission process, written examinations, or oral exams. It contains information and links to apply for job opportunities and helps applicants to make better informed decisions regarding what careers might be right for them. So this is just an overview of the different pages that are subpages that are located on the Job Seeker Resources Hub. And we will take a closer look at each of these as we continue. So first, our job opportunities link. This is self-explanatory. This is where you apply for our current job openings. You can locate all of our job classifications, and you can subscribe for various positions, whether by category or by specific classification. If you return to the Job Seeker Hub again, you'll find Career Exploration as an option. And this page provides information to help the job seeker better identify what positions and departments might be best suited to them. The page contains county organizational charts and a summary of the different county departments. It provides links again to job opportunities, classifications, and information to subscribe for jobs. And this is where we post current and upcoming events that we will be attending and promoting Shasta County careers. If you navigate to the recruitment process page, this is a wealth of information for our job seekers. There are tips and suggestions for participating in the various steps of the recruitment process. There are sample oral examination questions, study resources for written examinations, and information about the background process that all of our applicants will go through. An important piece of Shasta County careers and an important draw is also our employee benefits. So there's information here that can be located to identify the various benefits that are available to potential job seekers and help them make a better decision on what might be right for them and what will be available to them if they are employed. Applicants can also request a meeting through the Job Seeker Resources page. This is something we're especially excited about. They can sign up to be contacted by one of our staff and go through the process of reviewing their background and experience to try and identify and a suitable position. Or
oh my God, this feels like forever.
Assistance in that process, or if they just need some support. We're also offering periodic mock interviews for applicants who might be nervous about applying and need some real-time feedback and simulated interview experience. And then last but certainly not least, we have a list of frequently asked questions to cover many of the lingering questions or commonly asked questions for our job seekers. This is intended to be a central hub for our potential applicants who want to learn more about Shasta County jobs, and we hope that those individuals will find it a useful tool to help them navigate what can seem like a really complicated process. While we're somewhat limited in what we can do to simplify the process, we can make ourselves available to these potential job seekers and provide a little bit better accessibility to the personnel, staff, and transparency to the processes, which is what our goal is here today. So with that, I just want to thank Clint and Alex, who worked hard on this project, and for all of our staff who continue to promote our Shasta County careers. I'm happy to take any questions.
Supervisor Jones.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Monica. And how many positions that we still have open, and what kind of interests are we getting for the possibility of filling those positions?
I don't have a specific number of current open positions. However, we have seen the number of applicants rise over the last couple of years post-COVID, so we're seeing it turn back in that direction, which is great. And we're finding that the number of applicants for each individual position are increasing. And
I don't know, Juliet fucking gave me a PowerPoint presentation the other day about why she should be allowed to have a snake, and it was pretty convincing.
We have trouble in what kind of stands out?
Professional level recruitments.
Maybe I'll play it during the break.
Attorneys.
You're telling me we have a hard time getting attorneys?
Yes, attorneys.
You don't say.
Which we're grateful to have Mr. Larmer here. But engineers, IT folks, and then fiscal staff as well. All of those are areas that we're very much in need.
Okay, thank you.
And that holds true across the state, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing specific or, proprietary to Shasta. Supervisor Kellstrom.
There we go. First of all, thank you, Monica. You did a great job. Looks fantastic. CEO Rickert, maybe I think I brought it to several weeks ago about the coroner, and you were going to reach out whether the sheriff wanted our help or needed our help or would like our help or not. Have we had any luck with a coroner by chance? Do you know?
They don't have a coroner?
It's my understanding that that will be coming forward with budget. There might be some movement on that position. So I don't want to speak out of turn here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
CEO Rickert.
Board members and Supervisor Kellstrom, I had some conversations concerning the coroner position and possible iterations of what we could do with the sheriff, and we'll continue to look at that. I'll consult with the sheriff and see what recommendations we can bring forward to enhance that position so we can identify somebody to fill that.
Yeah, we don't want to step on any toes, but we want to offer as much help as we possibly can. So thank you.
That's correct. We want to work in cooperation with our elected officials.
Supervisor Garmin.
Thank you, Chairman Cry. Monica, that was a beautiful presentation. I really appreciated that. And I like the mock interview. I think that's going to help a lot of our young people who this day and age, they're not quite socially where they should be, the way cell phones are taking over the world. But this mock interview is going to give them some experience with that, and I think it's just a wonderful thing to add to it. So thank you for thinking of that and your team, Alex and Clint.
Yep, and they have been.
You learn new things about your county every Tuesday, Inquiry.
So we're excited about all of that as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we have one speaker, Don Duckett, who has pulled it. All right. We're going to move to public comment period open time. And I'm just going to read the highlighted section, which is about halfway through on your agenda. I'll start with all speaker request cards submitted after the meeting began will be heard by the board once all items on the agenda have been considered. Any public comment not heard prior to the 12 p.m. recess will be heard after the board reconvenes from closed session and all agenda items have been considered. I will say, as most of you know, and I'll speak briefly to this, this has been a process for me as chair and being here last year. I will see no less sometimes in 4 or 5 department heads, either in, I don't know if we call it the bullpen or the fish tank, whatever it's called back there, Stephanie. What is that called back there officially? What do they call that? The waiting room?
The media room?
The media room? Okay, well, I call it the bullpen or the fish tank. So anyway, and I've constantly tried to streamline our meetings that way. The department heads or people that want to come in and speak we can guesstimate within probably 5 to 10 minutes of when their item will be up so they can travel, because not everybody is in this building. They're across town and other places, and that is already proving to be working even just at our first meeting. All right. Alex Bilecki, Nick Gardner, Bruce Russell, Steve Kahn. I always botch that.
Yard duty. I'll take yard duty.
Good morning, Board. Came to speak about seat and seal, crime in our county, food for our children.
Nobody wants to save the American penis.
Seems like it's going well for us. Prices gone up. Food shortages, they're happening. Just slowly but surely. You won't see it, but you'll see certain things off the menu. Where's all the food going?
You know, they keep talking about these fucking $7 and $9 eggs. I don't know what bougie ass mansion them fucking chickens are living in that they're buying them exact, but I went to Food for Less yesterday and got 5 dozen for $12.
Seat and seal.
So I don't know where they're getting that. I mean, Bilecki is by no means buying the bougie eggs, but you know what I'm saying.
Establishment against itself. That's wrong. Unfortunately, the state of California has some problems. Schooling, unfair advantages, equal rights. Maybe we can get something on the pay thing where everybody gets paid a certain amount or something. But the fact is, I found out that the county got theirs before the city. So I have to apply my knowledge against the people who are using racism, all kinds of different kinds of hate stuff. But the most important thing is the media. They paint it a certain way. They make you feel a certain way.
I hope I make you feel a certain way.
Got a little bit of a issue between people. Let's start real simple with the month of February and get rid of Black History Month and make it fair. It only works if there's a bunch of people.
I think the problem is that he doesn't smoke any weed.
Okay.
His amount
If you don't
might
have
be
any
zero.
black people in your school, you don't understand. If you don't have any white colors, no, you don't understand. It's when you all work together and you have those differences. Please take a second look. Thank you.
Nick Gardner, followed by Bruce Russell, followed by
Yes, please, Shasta County Board of Supervisors, make the communism.
Kevin, I think you're doing a really good job, and I see a difference in the staff and their willingness to step up and help and work with the supervisors. I noticed that. Last week I was here and I talked about when I witnessed the hand count over there for 3 or 4 minutes at the elections office. And what I noticed is the way it was set up, it was less efficient than it could be. It was time-consuming, more time-consuming than was necessary, and it was labor-intensive. And I made the comment that it was a bunch of old ladies doing the counting. I didn't see one black, I didn't see one Hispanic, I didn't see one Chinese, and I never saw a male. I certainly wouldn't want those women sitting on a jury if I was to stub my toe and get prosecuted for something. So I've got a what I consider a solution I wanted to.
Why is he such an asshole?
And the meeting was called off. I think for counting the votes, should we ever go to a hand count,
have the prisoners do it.
consider seniors in high school, honor roll kids that could be picked by the counselors.
They don't have time, bro.
That could be shuffled in and work for an hour counting the votes. They wouldn't get tired. They would, I think they would take it very seriously as a chore, as an assignment. They could get extra credit for it, and it would get the young people involved in our election process and maybe start paying a little bit more attention to politics. And I just think
child labor, exactly.
something to consider. And if there's an age limit, maybe we'll have to go up to freshmen or sophomores in our colleges here. We've got 6 or 7 high schools to draw from, plus charter schools. And if you could give that some consideration and maybe a little direction for that, at least think about it, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Bruce Russell, followed by Lori Bridgeford, followed by Dr. Laura Hobbs.
Oh, God.
Welcome.
Yes, Board. I just want to briefly talk about the District 2 recount. And the cost was estimated at $86.26 for the first day. Based on the non-transparent 40% manual recount of District 2, it could take 4 to 5 days to do a full recount and a cost of $35,000 to $40,000. It appears that only the very wealthy can afford a hand recount in a close election. That seems unfair for the regular non-rich citizens who run for office and deserve a recount. We need to encourage regular people to run for office and not discourage them. Also, the requirement to pay with a cash or a cashier's check each morning for the day's cost is difficult since banks are typically open 9 or 9:30 to 5 each day. We should have volunteers do the recount, as Nick said, to dramatically reduce
Basically inquiry, right? But if you ask him about that in any other context, he'd be like, no.
For jury service, which is $15 a day after the first day. Jury service is not optional, like volunteering for a recount. Also, the recount should be fully transparent, where observers can see everything by using cameras where necessary. Supervisors should consider adopting a
But the difference is that Laura Hobbs wanted to do the recount without having any other oversight by any of her fellow candidates for that district.
A percentage as high as 1% may be appropriate. Automatic state-paid recounts are typical.
But also they didn't have the money. They couldn't raise the money. They thought it was going to be $8,000 for the recount, and it turns out that was per day.
1%. I think automatic recounts of close elections would help build trust in our local elections. It is worth additional time and expense to start building some trust in our local elections. But of course, a recount is not worth much if you're counting illegal or fraudulent ballots. The voter rolls must be cleaned up, and of course, mail-in balloting should be banned, and we need voter ID. And one comment on destruction of records. Does it say that you can't make a copy of that information before it's destroyed? Is that a legal consideration? Or take a photo shot of multiple ballots on the floor? Just food for thought. Thank you.
Lori Bridgeford, Stockton, Laura Hobbs, followed by Margaret.
Good morning, Board. Open public comment. Welcome to the new council, Joseph Lamore. And I'm not sure if I heard a reason why Supervisor Mary Rickert is not here. I don't know if she's ill, sick.
None of your fucking business.
So sometimes people might want to address and say something, and we don't know if it's being recorded in real time. I'd like to talk about the resignations from the Election Commission meeting. I think many of us have seen the attitude, mood, conduct of two of the commissioners that are both now resigned, and I'm hearing from today that Bev has also resigned. So
I heard that yesterday. You're even behind me.
A refresh, a reboot of some kind, and get the most trustworthy, focused people that can.
What's up, Joe to the D?
I'm not sure if this will come up as to the real reason why, perhaps, Suzanne Barrymore is not able to fulfill her duties. And I've seen the police report, and I'm just concerned that this is an issue. I didn't say one word of what the issue was.
Please don't respond from the floor. It is her 3 minutes.
Minus this again. I'm just saying, I want people that have focus, can concentrate, and have a good faith will to fulfill the goals and the purpose stated in constructing the commission. That's all. Not a problem. Week of the Young Child continues. Last week I had a witness where I was being blocked from leaving the building. That was breaking conduct 4. Rules do not block people trying to leave, and I was. And I wish certain individuals would pay attention to when a minor person is here to behave professionally as an adult and not like what's been happening for a few weeks in a row. I consider that reportable, as I'm a mandated reportable person on suspicion of issues.
It really does, huh, Postmodern?
So
it's like,
yeah, it's funny.
some hashtag save the children shit.
I heard an individual say she's with Shasta County Watchdog. There is a Shasta County Watchdog group. That's a different entity. And so one of the reasons I'm here as independent is
because you got nothing better to do.
What's going on in these chambers, because there's a fixed camera which only focuses right here, and all the activity that happens in the hallway, the landing, in the chambers, and all the rest is something to pay attention to. I know it doesn't make the nightly news, hardly ever, unless it's been a complete disruption where the meeting had to be paused and closed for a brief while. I have my 8 copies for my RPD report on the individual who continues to destroy my property. And I will be handing that in right here in your box. And again, I'd like to have decorum, and I appreciate the new ways of doing things with the least amount of commotion.
Laura Hobbs, Margaret Hanson, Serrano.
Okay, good morning, Board. I have some serious issues to discuss here regarding the audit logs from the most recent election. The dates on the audit log are incorrect. According to the audit log, line 2,761, Election Day Batch 69 was run on February 9th, 4 days after the ballots were sent out. I watched that batch, that exact batch, scanned on Election Day, 3/5/24. None of the dates on the audit log match first-hand observations.
What the fuck is she even talking
about? The number of ballots in each batch is also incorrect in the vote by mail data. According to our records, batch 199 was scanned at 2:04 p.m. on 3/11/24. It contained 99 ballots.
What does that
According
mean?
to the audit log, line 209643, batch 199 was scanned, and there was only one ballot scanned, it said. This is just one example of many. I have a whole summary here. Out of 167 vote-by-mail batches analyzed, only 46 of them actually matched
the devil
on Election Day.
What if it was
more
batch
than 1 out of
666?
3 batches were credited incorrectly in the audit log. It is ridiculous. If you look at the precinct numbers, and this is the most egregious of all, the precinct numbers do not match our observations. Out of 137 batches compared, only 2 audit log precinct numbers matched the observed precinct numbers. This is a huge issue. Joanna says that we use precinct numbers to balance the election. That's a direct quote. This is the entire scaffolding on which they base their election numbers. How can you possibly do that if your precinct numbers are incorrect? The election failed this audit, and it should not be certified or declared, and shame on anyone who went ahead and declared this election anyway.
We've been played this whole time. She's really a comedian.
Were false.
She's like a
Furthermore,
she's like a Sacha Baron
I
Cohen.
did not move forward with the recount.
But we're the only ones that picked up on it.
ROV refused to allow complete
Play the long game.
and how the batches were
This
selected
is stupid.
and set aside for counting. Serious discrepancies were found in the computer records of both the audit log, as I just described, and the cast vote records. Because the ROV refused to share their list of batches, without
We're in public
the payment
comment right now.
of $8,600, it was impossible for me to ascertain if the batches
You mixed Bilecki
in my district would be counted in their
Laura
entirety.
Bridgeford.
And they also wanted to charge an additional $2,000 for an election lawyer.
Nick Gardner.
Nowhere in state law does it mandate an election lawyer be present for the recount to take place.
Margaret Hanson, followed by Pauline, followed by Jenny. Good morning.
Morning. So, I'm going to keep saying it over and over again because I really, really find this very important. We need an outside forensic audit of every department that we have in this county, regardless if they're doing a good job or not. They should welcome that, in all honesty. If they're doing something right, then great. If they're doing something that needs efficiency changes and corrections, then great. If they're doing something illegal, then you've caught it and exposed it and you correct it. This is because we need transparency and accountability. The issues that are found can be a great learning experience for the professionals doing their jobs, but I do know people, and I have talked to some of them or family members who are so frustrated with things in this county. I mean, you guys get blamed for not having staffing and having empty spaces. Well, check your departments. I'm going to tell you right now.
We get blamed for Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, that's where the biggest problems are, is because a lot of it's a hostile working environment, and that has been quoted to me directly by a few people. It's a hostile working
Good job,
environment. And they get punished. If they're not doing illegal things, or they say, no, I can't do that because it's against the rules, they get punished. So check that. And if you have somebody actually, auditing a department that they have worked with before or are working with, I think that's a big no-no. Thank you.
Thank you. Pauline?
Oh, yeah, Dolo told Kevin to shut up. That's right.
Followed by Pam Hughes.
Ooh, who's this?
Board members?
Oh my gosh, he's got so many flags. Why so many flags?
Button on the far right.
I'm okay. I want to thank all of you board members for the hard work that each one of you do in your districts.
What is this? It's performance art.
I'm going to change the subject today. My name is Pauline Ariano. I am the last person, with one other friend, that is responsible for the library monument that represents our military. It's missing. It's gone. I don't know where it's at. It's been gone for several months. I came before the Board of Supervisors probably 20 years ago and asked for permission to have that monument that represents our veterans and our military.
Oh.
Excuse me. So 2 years ago, that monument disappeared. Didn't know where it was at, couldn't find it. Went to the city. That's where I was told to go. The library had no idea what happened to it. It was found, it was repaired, it was put back up. And on that monument, this is what it looks like. The main piece, the black piece.
Oh, well, fuck her then.
Centerpiece.
But seriously, though, they should fucking steal the monument.
Solid granite is gone. It reads, to the men and women in uniform, past.
A traveling flag salesperson. That's funny.
God bless you.
All of these are available in full size in my TikTok shop.
This back in 2003. It's been up there. I'm still collecting names for those that served during the Gulf War era. And whether you know that, that started August the 2nd, 1992. It is still ongoing. That is the Gulf War era. It has never had an official end to it. I would like your help to help me find out where it's at. The city doesn't know where it's at, I've been told. The library doesn't know where it is at.
Don't they have cameras?
And it's gone. We had a young lady here, Crystal, stand up here 2 weeks ago and talk about her name on that monument, what it means to her. It means that to me to have every one of our military name placed on that monument that has served, and especially for those that did not come home. The group is no longer together. It's on my shoulders and one other person to get it done.
Keep her mic on, please.
I've been working with a gentleman in Anderson. Here's copies of what it represents, what it says, and a picture of it for each one of you. I want to thank all of the military and all of you veterans in here that have served. But I need your help.
Today on what triggered Nathan to show up to the meeting?
Yesterday to the police department in the investigation office.
Don't do it, Nathan. Don't. Just let him cook.
Do you know where it was when they located it last time? Do you know where was it down in a creek bed or was it?
No, it was. I was told it fell off after 19 years of being glued on there. It just fell off. The city, I did not know where it was at until recently. They found it. They took it into the library. There was a gentleman there with the Parks and City Recreation who repaired it. He did a great job. He put it back up. It looked fabulous. That was 2 years ago. Now it's been gone for at least 5 months again. Don't know where it's at.
All right, well, thank you.
And if I can help.
And there's the copies in the box?
Hey, Chair Crying.
Supervisor Jones.
I would like to make a motion that if it isn't found very shortly, that the county would help and have that piece remade and then reattached.
I would like that.
I think, hey, Joe, it's not agendized, so is this something that we'll just bring it back?
To bring it back, could I?
Yeah, the board can reach consensus to bring this back on a separate agenda, but can't take action on it
Yeah,
today.
It's in her backyard.
Yeah, I'm good with bringing that back, but it is a city, the library
Correct.
is a city building and everything there.
Oh, of course there's money for that.
If
The
it's
reality
work
is
together with
the-
the city with that, or would you bring it back, just make sure we include what that might look like with working with the city?
Right, but it is a Shasta County Library, and it is a joint venture with the city and the county. And I was there at the dedication of that monument, so I would like to bring this back and replace that portion.
Okay, thank you. CEO Rickert?
Thank you. We did notify.
Yeah, that was a mega Karen haircut.
So we are working with the city of Reading, and we will come back with recommendations and potential options for the board to consider.
Thank you. Thank you, Pauline.
And did
Jenny?
we have a second on that motion, Chair?
To bring it, we don't need it to bring it back because we're not voting on it. We're just bringing it back. Jenny, followed by Pam Hughes, followed by Don Duckett. And Pauline, I will say that broke my staunch 4-month record of not letting people go over, but that's a topic that's worth it. So thank you.
What do you mean 4-month record of not letting people talk over? That's absolute, just 100% bullshit.
I was actually really happy to hear something different before me. That was nice because that was actually something that everybody can come together on and work together for, and it won't cause any division. Because really, my biggest concern for this county at this point of time is how to come back from what we've been seeing for
Well, if he just gives them more time, then technically it's not talking over, I suppose.
divisive nature, that hatred of our own community members, the dissolution of the idea of neighbors and friends. I'm not
Where's your camera, Jenny?
anywhere else. Kevin Craig got to see where I grew up. I grew up in a little tiny house in Bernie. I was born in Fall River Mills. I've never been anywhere else. And I would hate to even think about going anywhere else because this is my favorite place in the whole world. Bernie Falls is my favorite spot in the whole world. The lake is my favorite place to be if I need peace. I don't think I can stay in a place where people constantly hate each other. It's so horrific. I just am really hoping that this community finds a way to pull together, and I don't know what that will take. I'm starting to think it'll take a lot more than I thought it would. And I just hope that
No. Jenny is sweet. That's why she's a strawberry.
talk to each other.
But she will cut a fool.
In this room,
No, not really.
each other.
She is just sweet and soft spoken and wonderful. She is exactly, that is her right there.
Pam Hughes, followed by Don Duckett, followed by Christian.
I always forget if Pam is reasonable or not.
Thank you, Jenny, for encouraging us to be civil
Nope.
with
Okay,
one another.
she's good.
Good morning, Board. I'm Pam Hughes. I'm here to speak to you about your desire to remain a rural county. After seeing the most recent drawings of the Reading Rancheria's proposal for the strawberry fields, it is clear that it is inconsistent with your recent decision to identify and designate Shasta County as a rural county, similar to our adjoining counties. A huge complex comprised of 69,541 square foot casino, a 9-story, 250-room hotel, multiple restaurants, conference, events, and convention centers, and a 132,000 square foot retail center is not a rural development. Reading City Council has opposed the proposal from the beginning, following their 2019 letter, with a stronger one in 2022 to emphasize that the current council still opposes the project, believing it would harm local businesses. When the proposal was first presented to the public in 2016, the sitting Shasta County Board of Supervisors opposed the project, but a subsequent
board supported it. This board
Dude, a mall was definitely a thing in fucking Shasta County 30 years ago.
on the
But 30 years ago, it was like, okay, well, sometimes the Chico Mall was better because it was bigger and it had a bunch of different stuff. And the Shasta County was the Mount Shasta small. It was the small and not the mall.
being sued for action. My question is, does the board want to remain a rural county as you recently decided, or will you endorse a 9-story hotel
Ooh, a lazy river would be fucking awesome.
courthouse? I understand it would be the tallest building between Sacramento and Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want us to project a big city image on I-5 or maintain our rural identity like our neighboring counties? I urge this board to please join Reading City Council, over 6,000 Shasta County residents, and to support your own avowed goal of remaining a rural county by officially opposing the Reading Rancheria's proposal to build a mega casino complex on the strawberry fields. Thank you for this opportunity to address the board on this issue, which is so critical to the quality of life in Shasta County. We have until the end of the month to express our opposition.
Don Duckett, followed by Christian Gordner, followed by Patty Plum.
Viva Shasta County. What's going on, Mr. Mystery?
Duckett. Chairman Cry, thank you for enforcing your new rules as stated earlier with the one person that wanted to speak and hadn't signed a request card. Whether or not I agree with the rules, I do agree they should be applied evenly, so thank you for that. Chairman Cry, you and I had a conversation last week about the impact fees, and you expressed, or at least I took it, as willingness to maybe take a second look at the population study and whether or not that's been updated. I think that I've heard that it was in the works or very near completion. I talked to a lot of people, and that was last fall, and so I don't remember who told me that. But,
Thank you, Inquiry. We'll be expecting a full report whenever you return.
maybe consider bringing back to this board after
Inquiry, going out to make an inquiry.
so that all 5 members can weigh in and have the information. And we're all willing to accept if it turns out that no impact fee should be charged.
I believe, stop her clock real quick while I answer. I believe what I'd mentioned was if the population changes, I would always be willing to look at that. But I said, as of the study and what we based it on, or what I based it on as I brought it forward, I said it's just an illegal tax. So I said if the population ever does change, where
Well, how are you going to know unless you do a population
Thank you
study?
for that clarification. I would like to encourage you, though, to look at the updated population study and have the board evaluate that in terms of impact fees, especially Supervisor Kellstrom is kind of hinting that there's a big development coming in Cottonwood, and we really need to evaluate whether or not we're going to pick up the tab for those impacts if it's not warranted that we do so. Also, I just want to close and just voice my support for Supervisor Rickert, who is out on a medical leave. We wish her well, and I just want to send some positive thoughts that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Christian.
You're beautiful, you're lovely.
Plum, followed by Leslie Sawyer.
Oh.
So, Kevin, once again, the JCK cartel remains intact. And that is your intention.
Well, if it's my intention, how come I'm not listed first?
I'm sorry? Because you're taking orders from the ex-king.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the deal, is when it comes to the extreme far right agenda, you have no problem letting people go way out of jurisdiction of this body way off the agenda at times because you say it's their constitutional right or
Trying not to
whatever.
blow smoke across your fucking video call.
So you do have a First
I forgot all about it for a second.
Because
I was
you, Chair, can cut this microphone off. You, Chair, could say,
Oh, no, I was blowing it up. I was like, oh, yeah,
you,
can't
Chair,
do that.
could say, yes, you do need to fill out a slip. But you are going to give as much latitude to the cartel as possible. Why? I mean, look at the mess this county's in. We've got Patty Plum. We've got Laura Hobbs. We've got Patrick Jones suing Shasta County. What the hell is going on here? You gave a full hour to R2 to have your council say.
To the legislative update.
Yeah, to have the R3, to have your counsel, your attorney, say you have no jurisdiction. Period. You have no jurisdiction. But to appease the cartel, to appease the right-wing agenda,
She's the one that called left-wingers uncircumcised Philistines.
Let's go ahead and vote.
Patty Plum.
I mean, you know, really, the voters register, could destroy it at 4 o'clock today. But we spent an hour debating this because Jones needs some envelopes. Your intention is very clear. If you want to move forward, if you are,
want some of this here,
like you say, tired of all the divisiveness, and you want to find solutions where we can all work together, why not stray off your extremist agenda and your propensity to giving people in your cartel the latitude that you won't give anybody else? It's a hoax.
Go keep it over there. I have another one.
And the jig is up. We understand what's going on until you decide to do differently.
Is it a jig or a gig?
Are you?
Yep, he did. He didn't cut his microphone off, is what he said.
Dawn and I have great conversations.
I thought we were militia. Now we're cartel now.
I'm not sure.
You are a militia.
All right. Okay.
Hey, Christian.
Well, you left militia out of that
Patty
last
Plum.
rant.
That's good.
Oh, you're welcome.
They've
All right.
gone
Christian,
insane.
anything for you, buddy.
Hey, Christian.
The man who says, I don't need
Christian.
permission for
Christian,
to carry my weapon.
Christian, hey.
I'm going to go with it wherever I want. Are
Christian.
you carrying today?
Hey, Christian, hey, sit down. You had your 3 minutes, and then you'll get your 3 minutes on the next 7 items. Patty Plum, come on up. Leslie Sawyer.
Thank you.
Dolores. Welcome.
Thank you. I wanted to welcome our county chair, Lamore. Thank you so much for joining us, and also our CEO. We're really grateful for your part in the solutions and going forward with Shasta County. Patty Plum, District 3. I'm really happy to be working with Mary Ricker going forward as well. I just
Keep your nasty hands off of our Angel Mary.
accomplished yesterday just to verify that we are in a place right now that we're going to be creating solutions and not be stuck in chronic complaining any longer. We know enough to know.
I suppose I need to have that clip
and I believe
when she screams uncircumcised Philistines.
Machines were addressed, and we decided we didn't need their help in being able to have a free and fair election.
I need the thank God I'm not a good politician clip too for the Shasta soundboard.
A volunteer non-paid hand count vote in our county, and we said we can do that. We would like 200 Democrats, 200 Republicans, and Jenny, we thank you for being there yesterday. It was a good example of what we can do to come together. I think what was shared and discussed to say no thank you to the state system. We don't want to do it your way because we don't believe it's correct or constitutional, and we welcome you gentlemen to be able to help us navigate through this path. It's like getting through a landmine, but we believe that there's lamps on our feet, and every step that we take forward, we're going to be able to see what's the best route to go constitutionally, and to provide a template that not only for our county, but how we can do this without a system that has been set up for decades to be able to rig.
Oh, she gets on that fucking elections commissions board and they keep going with that shit. It is going to be absolutely the most insufferable fucking meeting that fucking goes on ever. It's just like the stench of hot air would float the chamber.
With 1 day precinct on paper ballots, same day hand count with dual custody. I heard that for the first time from Tim this week, and I believe that's going to be our solution. Dual custody is a little bit, as what I described, 200 people, Democrats, 200 Republican, and then overseers as well. And we look at paper ballots. And
how much does she think this shit's going to cost? We got to pay 200 fucking people, 400 people.
Illegal mail-in votes. So with this, it's going to be a chance for us to be able to demonstrate what was said.
No, they haven't identified any issues with the elections other than they lost some and they won some others. So now they have to hand count everything.
And giving it back to you.
For no reason.
I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, oh my gosh, we get to do this? And so that was many years ago, and we are just now on the verge of being able to see what that actually looks like.
No, you're not.
So we know it's going to be a little bit of challenge.
You're not on the verge of nothing. Secretary of State shut it down.
Thank you again for your part in bringing solutions.
Sorry.
Leslie Sawyer, followed by Dolores Lucero, followed by, I believe this is Shauna or Shanna.
Oh, this bitch.
So, I didn't have anything that I really had to say.
Oh, good. Then go sit down.
3 minutes of every topic and 3 minutes of everybody else's 3 minutes. Maybe we just need to point out that the only unsafe individual that makes everybody else in this room feel unsafe, people who have actually been physically assaulted by this person, should be the only one that needs to sit down and shut up. So,
who's that?
Dolores Lucero, followed by, is it Shanna or Shauna? Shanna, followed by Jim.
The last meeting I attended, I asked you, Kevin, to apologize to the mother and to the child for you to, when you walked away, when I brought the child up here, and for you to have your 2 cents on what you believe that I was doing to the child. And you you continue to allow people to say things, even on your radio show, even on Facebook for you to go on there. You know that's actually a violation of civil rights and
Nathan Blaze is not here, and this is still a shit show.
Child and the mother, and including me. Did you know that? Of course not, because you continued breaking the laws, every laws that you could think of. So I asked you to apologize, and you refused to do what's right. And you talk about doing what's right for kids, but yet you don't do what's right for kids. You talk both ends out of your mouth. That's what you do. And you discriminate these children. You say someone could come, but yet who are you to say? There's no sign saying what kid could come in here. Then now you got the security guard having his own down opinion, telling me certain things. And for him to tell me certain things about a child, he has made up his opinion. For a security guard, that's not his job. So since you are not willing to apologize,
does it prohibit law?
What I'm giving you, a notice of cease and desist for discrimination and discrimination and making allegations and abusing your authority. Dear Chair Cry, this letter serves as a formal notice demanding that you immediately cease and desist your ongoing discrimination, defamation, and abusing your authority against me, Dolores Lucero, and my friend Shannon and her minor child. You cannot continue talking about that child. I told you, I will sue you. We plan to sue you for civil rights. You cannot violate anybody's rights. You're not above the law. You think you're above the law? I am so sick of all 3 of you. Chris, including you, you continue to follow their footsteps. You're going down the hole. At first, I didn't want to do a lot of things, but you know what? You're not doing your job to represent the people. You're supposed to represent the people, not help each other to give each other what you guys want. It's not about you. You didn't run to actually do what you wanted to do. It's about the damn people. How many times have I told you? It's about the people. You're not even willing to apologize to the child or the mother. You refuse, so therefore, I will serve you, and we plan to sue you because there's no ifs and no buts. And we're not changing our minds. Just so you know that.
Love you, Dolo. Okay, thanks. Nice.
Followed by Jim.
They go low, we go Dolo.
I came in here February 6th and asking for help, and I never received a response. I have continued to attend meetings, and I wasn't able to get up here to speak to re-ask about that because you guys were really busy. But I do tune in online and everything, and online everyone's encouraging people to come to these meetings. They want everyone who's sleeping and not paying attention to come. And I constantly hear, like even you were talking about your son, you wish your son would get more involved, your 12-year-old son would get more involved and come and everything else. And so my daughter...
I said that?
Yeah, on one of your things, you talked about how you wish your son would watch some presidential debates.
Yeah, I wouldn't let my son come here.
Presidential debates, still getting involved in policies, not politics.
Add 30 seconds or a clock.
And so anyways, I brought my daughter here because she actually expressed interest and wanted to see what was going on because I was in and out of here since November and trying to talk to you about my stuff. And then so since I came, there was that incident and you allowed people to talk about my daughter after that. And then I came back up here and I asked everyone to stop. You still let people talk about it. Then Nick went...
Stop the clock. I just want you to know, like, I can't, I mean, believe me, I've asked
When
some
people are up here,
I can't tell people to stop talking about, so I
Okay,
can't.
can you stop right now, though?
Christians even.
Anyways, the
I'm
point
trying to help
is
you. Okay.
that Saturday, Nick went on the radio and talked about it. In the recap, you talked about it. So then I came back last week and I asked you, can you please quit talking about my daughter because it keeps coming back to me and things keep being said. And then you went on the radio on Sunday and you let Lori ask you about it and you guys started talking about it again. And then you let Laura come up here again today and start bad-mouthing me again today. And I'm asking you once again, can you guys please just quit talking about my daughter? She is a minor. She is a minor. She is here. You've said it's okay if kids come. There's more kids here today. I told you I was going to bring more kids. It was okay. But still, you guys cannot stop bullying my daughter. You can't quit talking about my daughter. Every time you talk now, you're talking about the N-word and my daughter. Yeah, facts tell, stories sell, but don't make my daughter your story. Quit exploiting and bullying my child. Every time you do that, people are going back, finding everything, and then people are contacting me about it. Please, I'm asking you, stop talking about my child. She's not doing anything wrong. She's just sitting there. She's not doing anything. And Lori won't stop talking about her. You won't start talking about her. And then Lori says, I wasn't letting her leave the building the other day. That's not true. She tried attacking somebody, and I stood between her and that person and didn't let her go past me. She wasn't trying to go out the building. She could have turned around and went out the building. She was trying to go this way towards this part of the building to attack someone. She was not trying to get outside of the building. No matter what she says, she was trying to attack somebody out there.
We don't really, okay, I hear you.
And so she came up here and spreaded more lies today, and you're letting her.
I mean, I've let you carry on, and this has nothing to do with the jurisdiction of the board, but I let everybody carry on because I try to do the best I can.
The board is making the comments.
If people are trying to tie something
are
back
making
around,
the
I
comments.
try to give everybody their 3 minutes. So, I mean, I'm always,
Okay, then
I'm always
why did
believing
you-
somebody's going to bring it back to
Then
something.
why did you engage on Sunday with her? Why are you adding my daughter and the N-word into your story? Why are you exploiting my daughter? What are you getting at?
I'll answer that when your 30 seconds are done. Yeah. Would you like me to use the rest of your time to?
Yeah, you can have the rest of my time.
Okay, so go
I'm
ahead.
done.
Thank you, and I'll answer that.
Okay.
So again, one thing that when I sat in Supervisor Garman's seat over there and a person used a very derogatory term, my gut instinct was to hit the mic and just go off. But I knew the way they used the word at that time was in their First Amendment rights, and I take my oath very seriously. So therefore, but I did say at that moment, if one of the rules I had 3, and I talked about this on my show this weekend. The 3 are follow my gut, or trust my gut, follow the money, and no new friends. When I entered in politics, that's what those were. So trusting my gut, when I saw that happen with your daughter, I trusted my gut, and I thought it was an absolute abomination and exploitation, and I couldn't be a part of it, so I walked out. That was it. All right, next speaker, Jim Burnett. And that is our last card before we go to public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. That's our last item before we move to closed session items. Yes, Jim, welcome.
Morning. I'm here to talk about a little bit about the accepting the certification of the election by declaration at the last meeting. I want to commend Patrick Jones for doing the right thing and voting to not accept the certification. And the rest of the cartel, I have nothing but disapproval for, because I think all of you should have stood tall and voted to make a bold statement that our current method of running elections, especially the chaotic methods of ballot processing and tabulation, does not meet the minimal common sense and legal standards of transparency and fairness. It is time to boldly state we will no longer continue our current charade of conducting local elections. This Board of Supervisors, along with the very able help of the Election Commission, needs to move our county forward and create a path for cleaning up the voter rolls, requiring voter ID, in-person voting on the same day, not an election season, but just one day voting, no more mass mailing out of ballots. There would only be a few minimal absentee ballots like we used to do. We would hand count the ballots after they were submitted by volunteers from each political party, and implement secure chains of custody procedures within the ROV processing center and eliminate the unsecured, unmonitored drop boxes. Finally, I'd like to see this board commission a forensic audit of the ROV and our election processes, or convene a separate grand jury investigation of the ROV and its administration of our recent elections. It's all about trying to get to the bottom of things and have an election system that all of us can agree on. It's not about trying to put in our candidates. Everybody wants their own candidates elected, of course, and we all hate defeat, and we all love it when our candidates win. But honestly, it's about removing any kind of doubt that everything is kind of manipulated. We need to get back to basics and just be able to see with our own eyes just what's going on. Thank you.
If y'all are still here, congratulations, because you waited a long time for me to finish that story.
Okay, so that concludes the open comment period for this time. For the people that submitted a card prior to the beginning of the meeting, we'll pick up with the remaining items, or leaving it open for those that just want to not put a card in but speak at the end. We'll move to consent calendar at this time. Those wishing to participate in public comment for the consent calendar items must submit a speaker request card to the clerk of the board before public comment for the consent calendar begins. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes to speak. Each speaker or all speaker request cards submitted after public comment for the consent calendar begins will not be heard by the board. Up first on C4 and 7, Jenny, followed by Don Duckett, who is passing, followed by Leslie Sawyer. And that's C4, Leslie, wherever Leslie went.
So C4, I'm just glad to see that it's on the consent calendar and doesn't require debate, because I know you guys tend to tend to be a little suspicious of grants and the strings that might be attached. C7, I was really curious. I was kind of hoping that that would be discussed further than just the consent calendar, because fair housing just sounds really cool, and I just wanted to hear more about it instead of it just being voted on and passed and going away. So, thank you.
Thank you. Leslie Sawyer. Is she here? She went to the restroom?
That was Mike Mangus.
Okay.
From KRCR. Going to go get his microphone.
Garmin, any item you guys are looking to pull?
Chair Cry, I move that we adopt the consent calendar. I'm going to just mention on C11, this is to award Reading Veterans Hall roof replacement. This has been a long time coming. I know there's been some veterans that have been noticing some of the problems at the Veterans Hall here in Reading, and so I just wanted to highlight that problem there is getting fixed. And with that, so move the consent.
I'll second.
Okay, seeing no others, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. I didn't mean roll call. I meant we'll take a vote on that. Okay, consent passes. All right, at this time, we're going to take closed session items, R8, R9. Oh, let me pull it right back up. Go again. And R10. So, yes, R8, R9, R10. I have 2 speaker request cards. Dolores Lucero for R8. Come on up.
You know, if you guys wouldn't be breaking the laws, I wouldn't be here that often. But since you break the law, somebody's got to watch you guys because you guys don't even follow the laws. And this
coming in hot
for this new council, Kevin Cry, who
we get all kinds of doses
friend
of
of your
Dolo.
friends, and that's why you gave him the job, which is a conflict of interest. So, Mr. Legal Counsel, be prepared that I will file a complaint with the state bar. I just had a new legal counsel, this bar in Los Angeles. He was disciplined. So therefore, his license was revoked. And I'm so glad I was able to succeed. So you'll be my third if I bring you down for the conflict of interest. Because you have known him and you know his whatever girlfriend and all that. So it's a conflict of interest. Be prepared.
Damn, girl.
For R10 if you'd like.
Skip that one. Welcome to the team. We're all being sued.
Okay. All right. With that, we are going to, Stephanie, I have a quick question. Can we took that, are we able to go to I mean, this is like record territory right now. So can we go to R6 at this time?
Absolutely. Chair, the only time that we need to take a break will be before we hit the 4-hour mark, which is 1 o'clock, but I believe we're going to take closed session at noon.
Okay.
Is that correct?
This is like walking on the
We
moon,
have until
people.
noon to move on to the
Getting
next
to
item.
R6, County Administrative Office, adopt a resolution acknowledging Eric Marler for the donation of radio equipment infrastructure. Stuart Butel, sharp-dressed man, Deputy CEO. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. Appreciate it. So it's not quite good afternoon, so good morning.
Either or.
Record time. Good afternoon, Chair Cry, members of the board, Stuart Butel, Deputy County Executive Officer. I am pleased to stand before you today to bring forth a resolution which acknowledges Eric Marler for the donation of radio equipment and infrastructure, which is imperative and essential to the ongoing operations of emergency services throughout Shasta County. As you may recall, the county previously contracted with Valley Industrial Communications, a business owned by Mr. Marler, to install, maintain, and service equipment at various repeater vaults strategically located throughout Shasta County. Beginning in 2021 and ultimately in 2022, Mr. Marler sold his interests in his company to another entity, but retained specific resources which continue to be pivotal to radio operations locally. On December 13th, 2022, the Board of Supervisors approved the then acting county executive officer to accept a donation of equipment and associated infrastructure pending final appraisal and valuation. Finding a qualified appraiser proved to be challenging, and both parties, the county and Mr. Marler, ultimately opted to work with a vendor already contracted to provide services by the county to establish a replacement value for the equipment. By approving the resolution today, the board will conclude a culmination of efforts over the last 3 years between Mr. Marler, the Auditor Controller, County Council, Public Works, the Health and Human Services Agency, Day Wireless, and the County Administrative Office. The total value of this donation is $169,805.
Wow.
And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the parties involved throughout this process, and especially the team in the Auditor Controller's Office, County Council, and Mr. Marler for their collective efforts to get this across the finish line. So, and this concludes my presentation. I'm available to elaborate further or answer any questions you may have.
Supervisor Jones.
Thank you, Chair Cry. No, I just wanted to appreciate the donation from Eric Marler. I've known him for a long time, and his father, Senator Marler, he's now since moved to Florida, and so this was very gracious because he knew how it would help Shasta County. He could have sold it outright, but it was a great donation to us, so I just wanted to acknowledge and make a motion to accept this donation.
I'll second that.
We have a first by Supervisor Jones, seconded by Supervisor Kellstrom. We have
Come on, Tim, hold it up. Ask him what strings are attached. Come on.
If there's no other, any other questions, Supervisor Garment? Nope. All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously 4-0. Moving on to R7. Approve a retroactive grant agreement with the Center for Tech and Civic Life for a $1.5 million grant and select a spending plan for the funds. Joanna Franciscat, Assistant County Clerk and ROV, is here. Come on up. And this is being brought back as per request of the board.
Did somebody send Patrick an email and let them know that this was coming back now again already? Did somebody fucking let him know? Because Patrick was awfully upset last time that he was dealing with a bunch of election denial bullshit that didn't get the email about the fucking $1.5 million worth of Zuckbucks we're supposed to get for a new election system.
We can knock out some public comment. If anybody does wish to speak after the presentation, that's fine, but I would like to get some of these out of the way if we could. Jenny, Don Duckett, and Dwayne Brovon.
Maybe you should let them do the presentation and then have your comments and then do public comment. Because that will be able to provide them with the most information to be able to guide their comment.
Shasta County was picked for a grant, and of all the offices in America, our little county was picked for excellence under a faithful leadership of our ROV, Kathy Darling Allen. I would expect that the board would have commended her for her excellent work, would have listened to the woman who was chosen for her expertise and excellence in her field, would have given her what she asked for to further improve her office and take what was excellent and make it even greater. But it's not what happened. She was questioned, her motives questioned, her office badgered, treated like criminals, the very $1.5 million being awarded treated like a money laundering operation. Her valiant services were treated like a criminal, a hostile work environment created, and so much so that our ROV was rendered out of service by a heart condition. 25 years of faithful service. The grant sat and sat due to other obligations the office was thrown into, trading out machines, which I do believe at the time he was Supervisor Cry requested the grant not be used on machines. Building hand counts, working tirelessly to build something from nothing. As the grant sat on the supervisor's desk in the last meeting, the acting ROV was badgered for not communicating with the board sufficiently when the buck should stop here at the Board of Supervisors chambers. I asked that the board start listening to Joanne and instead of treating her as an adversary, honor the work that her and her office has done and grant the money to them in the way that they feel would help them the most. Make their office as great as possible, or for all the MAGA people, make elections great again.
Nice, Jenny. Good job. That's mega.
Is the...
Yes, Chair. We're ready for Joanne.
Don, do you want to speak before or after? It's totally up to you.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. I'm letting you pick.
Let's get it over
All
with.
right. Don Duckett, come on up.
I'll make this quick. Don Duckett. I spoke on this last week ad nauseum, so I won't belabor those points that I made. I just wanted to say that this is a great opportunity to set our elections office up for success. Let's do that. The people have spoken. Patrick Jones and Laura Hobbs lost by huge margins, and the people do not believe that our elections office are inept or corrupt. So let's move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don, for bringing it home.
Come on up. And we'll pause public comment until after the presentation. Dwayne Brovon will be up first in public comment for R7 after. Welcome again.
Do you need these? or no? Okay.
Good morning, Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors. Again, I'm presenting to you the options that we have for this Alliance contract grant that we received for $1.5 million. So what is the Alliance? The Alliance is a 5-year, $80 million program. The key goals are to envision, support, and celebrate excellence in U.S. election administration. Shasta County was chosen based on our excellent work and commitment to improve upon practices and procedures aimed at enhancing the voter, poll worker, and staff experiences. The grant funds must be used exclusively for the public purposes of planning and I can't even say that word, safe and secure election administration in Shasta County. My bad. Things to consider when reviewing these funding options. We can use them for key physical components, key technological components, and key human components. So meaning building, anything to do with election technology and staffing. So I'm proposing to you to accept the grant funding and select one of these for options that are included in the board report. So this first option is equipment and materials, including those for the HART voting system, including the updates to physical improvements that you guys are requesting us to do with the drop boxes and security cameras, and costs for salaries and benefits to implement the HART voting system and develop the hand counting process. So this includes the majority of the funds that we've already spent in implementing all the projects that we did last year in 2023. And so right now we've already allocated $1.2 million of this money that the general fund is currently paying for. We're asking for additional $304,000 to add into outreach, a new updated server, stress and resiliency training, and security updates to ballot boxes. Included that are needed supplies that we have to purchase for the voting system, for the UPS backup, the power backup for election day, and then printer carrying cases for the printers that go with the voting system. Option B is a little bit different than that, not a lot different. It includes equipment materials, including those for the voting system, physical improvements as well, including security cameras, drop boxes, and costs for salaries and benefits to implement the HART voting system and develop the hand counting process. It includes funds allocated for a consultant to provide a security analysis of locations and operations not included in option A. So the only difference is a little bit less staff funding and putting more money into a consultant to come and review our security, our office, and provide us with additional feedback and recommendations on how to make elections secure. Option C. This includes equipment and materials, including those for the HART voting system, physical improvements, including security cameras and drop boxes, facility and ADA improvements, and the purchase of generators for locations that are county-owned that we use for polling places. So again, paying for less staff time that we've already would pay for in the general fund, and then adding updates to county-owned facilities that include ADA requirements and then permanent generators on our county-owned polling places. Option D. Option D includes purchasing tabulators for the voting system, and again, paying for including anything that we've already purchased for the HART voting system, including the physical improvements, adding security cameras for drop boxes and more secure drop boxes. And this plan includes funds for precinct tabulators that are not included in the previous plans. So the last option,
but even syringe, even the
plans to create a new
the guy said that
accept this funding. So do you have any questions?
I don't know if he works on Public Works or he works with he'd been looking for some sort of building for the county to take over months before this was a thing, and there wasn't even one available then.
Dolores, followed by Dr. Laura Hobbs, followed by Jim Burnett.
I'll make it brief. Chair Cry, Board, I believe that option D with tabulators and or a E including tabulators. Listening to the people earlier in many meetings, they all seemed that the tabulators at the precincts they liked it. They like to watch their ballot get counted right then and there. I'm not sure if they get a copy of what was scanned or not. That would be nice. So mine is at least to get the tabulators, and please get the money. It's 1.5 million into our pocket. Thank you.
Drake, it was because she went up there with Dolores and did her Dolores thing, and Kevin got all offended and walked out, and then everybody started having a fucking conniption fit over it.
Patrick Jones, you should recuse yourself when you make any decisions on this item, because you do have a conflict, because you submitted multiple documents to the court across the street, and you mentioned election fraud and all kinds of stuff here on these documents against the judge, and you're explaining about the election. So you do have a conflict. So you should recuse yourself. And also, I'm surprised because of the copies of the documents that I received actually don't even have anything where it says under penalty of perjury. So whatever you're saying here, you're afraid to even put that. But you're supposed to put that on there when you submit documentations to the court or for the judge to review that. So, and like I said, you do need to recuse yourself because you go on here talking about the election, Kathy Darling, and so you need to recuse yourself because you're involved. And you're involved with a lot of the stuff that's been going on for a long time. And I know you're not going to because you don't believe in following the law. And I know you'll have Kevin Cry and Chris to basically vote for you because we know you could count on those votes because it's pretty sad that none of you ran for the people. You're not standing for the people. You're not doing your job. You're actually violating your office of oath because you're not for the people. You continue to make chaos, and that's why you see me pissed off a lot more because you continue to break laws. You continue to do things like this, and yet you expect to sit there and vote on it. I don't understand why you guys think you're above the law. So you need to
well, because nobody gets in trouble for anything in Shasta County. I mean, then some people get in trouble, but then they're just let go to get in trouble again, and then they just stack up troubles until they move. Ask Phil that.
Yes, hello, Dr. Laura Hobbs here. Let's not flatter ourselves.
At least she didn't say candidate for District 2 supervisor.
Based on merit. These are awards handed out in an influence peddling scheme. I am of the opinion that this money should never have been accepted, period. But as it has been, we should use these funds as originally specified by the board, or not at all. So buy a building, or give the money back. We do not need more tabulators at the precincts.
Microbiology, postmodern.
This SEER organization, started by David Becker, uses the pretense of safety and security to decrease observation and transparency. This is a serious problem. Our elections are not transparent. I was speaking about the batches and the audit logs earlier. Well, the thing is that in my meeting with Joanna, I explained that I needed to see the batch number in the audit logs, and she later explained that those very informations about the batch number, the precinct number, and the number of ballots per batch, they're working right now in our state legislature to make it so that would no longer be public information.
Dude, she's the reason that The Last of Us is going to come true, isn't she?
They do not want transparency. So how can we even audit our own elections using these public documents?
Cordyceps started with Laura Hobbs,
by the way. And you are able, as a citizen, to get a hold of these documents by making a public records request. They want less transparency, and I'm very concerned about that. That is the overriding theme of this organization. Anyone can watch or go to their website and see what they're about. So no, I don't think we should be using these funds, and if we do use them at all, it should be as originally specified. Thank you.
Jim Burnett.
I think I agree with Laura. Last year, I believe the board voted to accept this grant only for the
That's
purchase of
horrible.
land or a building, something physical, and not to have any of the other things that they suggested. But if we do have to spend or receive and spend the money, then I would lobby for purchasing equipment that's necessary to hand count all the ballots at all of the
But that would be a waste of money because you're not allowed to hand count in
that
California.
are needed to monitor and record every single ballot being counted throughout.
We have the equipment to hand count, but we also have the equipment required by state and federal election laws to tabulate ballots in California.
Storage space so that we can observe all the data, both physical and digital, for at least 7 years. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll bring it back for discussion. Supervisor Jones.
Thank you, Chair Cry. So I guess we do need to go back a little bit to February of 2023. I was chair on, I believe, February 28th. A substitute motion or a counter motion was made by then Supervisor Cry to accept this grant for the purpose of a building, and once it enters our escrow account, that it cannot be taken back. That was passed at that time on a 3-2 and moved forward. Shortly thereafter, I asked at our time our acting CEO, Mary Williams, was our grant application accepted? And I got no response. And so for the entire year of 2023, I asked 3 different times whether they accepted our counter offer. And I was unaware that they had. But I was also unaware of what the counter offer was presented to the company, to Center for Tech and Life. It never came back. And in fact, as we now have received emails to the effect, I've read at least 200 pages of emails going back and forth from our then counsel, Ross, to various people, including Kathy Allen, and Council Ross is reaffirming that it needs to go back to the board for approval. Needs to go back. Many emails that it needs to go back to the board for approval. And in one particular case on April 7th, this is from Kathy Allen, and she says, Jim, my apologies. So the removal of sole isn't enough. We need to remove the entire phrase in its sole judgment in order not to go back to the board. Yes? And he keeps saying that we need to go back to the board. In another email, March 30th, this is from Jim Ross to Kathy and Joanna. In order to respond to Joanna's request about whether the Center for Tech and Life Agreement could be executed without going back to the board, and he goes on to say that I think more slight modifications need to occur and it needs to go back to the board. It never came back to the board. I was chair, so I was unaware of what even was said. Now, I have since then found that the agreement that was sent back to the Centers for Tech was not the agreement that this board made. So this thing has gotten, and that's subsequently why I was not informed of what happened here. And keep in mind, 23 states have passed ordinances or laws,
It's 28.
28 states that no longer accept this type of money. So it was already highly controversial. And then here at that time, council, and I believe, council was trying to direct folks within the elections office that it needed to come back to the board, but ultimately it never came back to the board. And so it sat all this time. Now we are into.
Imagine fighting this hard to fucking
We've got to act now
like
because
decline free money that's supposed to go to your elections office in recognition of the fucking good job they're doing.
my frustration. I had asked the questions, did they accept this grant? I did not. I was.
He's hella mad because he fucking lost.
And it was not made aware
He's
to Chair until very recently, and it was made aware to Chair Kwai.
hella mad.
So
you mad, bro?
It's difficult on this one. I realize we have some options for this, and it probably makes sense to do option A. That would free up some money to go to other things that we've already paid, but I'm upset at this thing, how we got this far on it, Chair Frank.
Before I weigh in, Supervisor Garmer, Supervisor Kellstrom? Okay, so this is the stack of emails. If you guys remember last meeting, I had requested when Bryce Ritchie, an analyst, had talked about an email, and I'll tell you what this has done for me is it's just been it's super disheartening to understand how there's conversations happening. And again, and I've told people this on the radio show and everything else. Please don't hit the clerk up to FOIA this stuff. If you want it, I will help hand it over so that way you have it if you want to read through it. But this is much bigger than the CTCL thing. There's 5 elected officials, 4 who are up here, who are voted in to speak for the constituents. And what I've learned through this process is this is exactly why Costco is where it is and not out Oasis. Because when staff wants to slow walk stuff or absolutely torpedo the will of a board or a council, this is how they do it, right here. This is how they do it. And accountability has to come. Now, I'm not pointing blame because there's different CEOs, other people that aren't here, but I can vow this, as long as I am here as a supervisor, this will not go unchecked. There will be massive accountability when this happens because this is wrong on a lot of levels. I mean, listen to this hitting the thing. That's a lot.
Yeah, you wasted a bunch of fucking paper.
You see another elected official and county council saying this should go back to the board, and then through email trying to figure out a way to manipulate the system so it doesn't come back up here. It's egregious.
I find it funny that he's sitting there next to Patrick Jones, who has found a way to manipulate the system to benefit him personally.
Jones and Kellstrom voted no. I did want the building, but the reality is we have real dollars that will replace
What's up, Hack?
spent on the hard equipment.
We were just trying to invoke chaos, and you showed up.
I mean, hey, that is a record, though. We got both one side.
Thank you for the reset.
But it is free money with no strings attached. That money will go back to the general fund. That general fund, CEO Rickard, is what paid for the HART, correct? The capital investment?
Correct. The vast majority with any of the options, and Aaron Bertain can give detail, will go back to the general fund, and the board can then reconsider spending that money in any direction, including the jail or other resources for the county.
Correct. And that's where I feel money needs to be allocated to, would be to continue this board majority's desire to get that jail built downtown where it is and support, of course, our sheriff in those efforts. So
there was a glorious moment where Dolores yelled at Kevin to shut up.
Anything, and I didn't. Could you bring that back? Could we bring that back up? Option A on the screen. I do want to double check one thing and make sure it hasn't changed since I looked at it last.
Give it just a moment, Chair.
But again, what's troubling is I think, and the other thing too is we know that AB 969, as that went down the tracks, that the state of California was not going to allow us at that time to hand count. So I really feel like if this board would have been notified about that dollar amount, we still could have found a building because we would not have needed a building to hand count. We could have made that determination. This board majority could have made that determination last summer to say, hey, 969, that's going to happen. So we're not going to be able to hand count. So let's pivot now and find a location for our elections office and not.
No, because the guy who handles that shit said that even before this was a thing, there wasn't anything to rent that was even close to $1.5 million or purchase or build.
Would not have needed to
It just wasn't possible.
hand count. So we could have found a building had this board known last summer and had that ample amount of time. So I have faith that Bryce Ritchie would have been able to find a building.
There has been a fair amount of chaos, Hack, but you missed it. That's why we tried to summon you.
Supervisor Kellstrom, Supervisor
And now you're
Garmin,
here.
do you guys see anything here in option A? I do have one, like the staff stress and resiliency.
Yeah, that was my question too.
Is that something that that could go towards? That wouldn't be specific to the elections office. It could be something that Monica Fugit could work with that, and that could be a all staff training. So that wouldn't just be allocated to the elections.
So it needs to be allocated
Does it have
to
to be just-
elections,
okay.
because that's the grant that we received, is to allocate this to election. This is very specific training. When staff are close to burnout, which often happens during election time, they tend to be a little bit harsher in their turn, like in their communications to observers or to public. And so this is my work to ensure that every customer that walks in the door is getting treated with the same level of customer service at all the time. So making sure they're hitting that level. And so that's an attempt to ensure that we have the best customer service possible. And then also to help train our poll workers as well.
Yeah, and then Democracy Live, I think you.
That's a requirement. That's the remote accessible vote by mail. We, by law, have to have that in place.
Because that's part of. Yeah,
That's part of the voting
first,
system.
yeah.
That, remember,
I remember.
Dominion used to provide that. We had to get another vendor in place.
Yeah, so I would make a motion that we accept option A.
I'll
Just-
second.
You have to approve the grant agreement too as well, right?
Grant
You have to
agreement.
approve the grant agreement and then option A.
Grant agreement. As part of the motion. Okay. So I want to check one more thing too, and make sure that wasn't changed. Joe, or Council Joe, did you, or Council Joe, Council Armour, did you get a chance to look over that agreement at all yesterday? I know Alan was working on this prior.
I know that Alan has had an opportunity to look at this. I don't know whether he reached a resolution. I was not able to have enough time to go through this in detail. I will tell you, though, that if the motion is to move forward, it is to approve the retroactive grant agreement with the side of choosing which method option you would like to use.
And Supervisor Kellstrom, sorry.
Yeah, so I originally voted no, along with Supervisor Jones, to even accept this money to begin with. So now, but now looking at this option A here, keep in mind this money, most of this money on option A has already been spent. Is that correct? I mean, so we've already spent this money. So this grant is not. This grant is a way to reimburse our general fund for money that's already spent. So again, I voted no on this originally, did not even accept the grant. If it didn't pass, we accepted the grant. Now we have access to this grant, and we have money that's already been spent on items, and this is a way to reimburse the general fund with this grant. So even though
For the jail.
yeah, and exactly, and the general fund, I mean, right now our biggest thing is we need to build a jail, and if this gets some money back into the general fund,
They've literally been talking about building a jail for 3 years now. That we've been watching this
So again,
for 3 years.
You know, I'm going to. Supervisor Jones, I'm sorry.
Chair Cry, would you be willing to amend your motion to accept only that part that we would be able to be reimbursed and not the other part? So we could take the 1.1 and not any of the other, and that way it would accomplish our goals without getting too far in the weeds.
So do you not want
Stephanie, could you bring that back
secure
up?
drop boxes? I mean,
Correct. I don't.
okay.
Hold on one second. Supervisor Jones, I just pulled it back up. Say it again.
So would you be willing to amend your motion, kind of a option 1A, if you will, for the monies that we've already spent? I think it's 1.1 million, and not receive these other portions. That way it could go to, it makes the general fund whole, and we don't accept this other funding for these other issues.
So my question though is if
We don't have to take the whole 1.5.
I understand that, but my question is for, this is all, Bryce, can you come up? Or Aaron, I don't know which one of you it would be. But, because I don't see here when it says allocated, and I had notes on this, but this is mostly all reimbursement at this point, right?
Correct. So, good morning, Chair Cry, members of the board, Aaron Bourdain, Deputy County Executive Officer.
Yes, have somebody else come and explain the same thing that Joanna has tried to explain 3 times now.
That's money we've either already spent or are budgeted to spend in the fiscal year. And then in the 24 estimated costs, those are options that the County Clerk Registrar of Voters is recommending, some of which we would need to buy anyway. So, for example, the power backup devices for Election Day, that's something that they need. A printer for the carrying case. Right now they have boxes that don't, the printer's going to last longer if they purchase that. And then some of the items like security cameras and security updates to ballot drop boxes, those were options that have been expressed by the Elections Commission and some members of this board that the county is interested in having. So without approving those items, they would not necessarily be something we would include in a future budget. But I would say the top 2 items, and Joanna can confirm, are things that we need anyway and would include in this next fiscal year's budget for elections. So if not approved, we would be recommending that out of
the only thing, Supervisor Jones, I would be quasi interested in, again, is the voter education outreach mailings to all voters, that 79,000. That would be one item that I wouldn't necessarily have to support, because I don't think some of that messaging and stuff.
Yeah, and I would also note that the total estimated cost is more than the 1.5, so we're about $95,000 over as far as these estimation goes. So the board is certainly
that's why I'm trying to get it to 1.5. So that's why I'm saying that is 79. So we're not going to take more than 1.5.
So, and just to clarify on that voter education.
So as people gripe and moan and have no concept of what we're talking about, it's 1.5. This is 1.95.
Right. So just to clarify, that voter education outreach and mailings, that's an attempt to reach out to voters that there's a voter file, like a lot of concerns about our voter file. So this includes outreach to all registered voters to confirm their residency and get that updated. So that's the intent of that outreach and mailings to all voters.
One of my questions, though, and I've had this about voter rolls, is if there's efforts being made to contact them, does that put them back in the queue where they're no longer, if they haven't voted by a certain amount of time? I know they're supposed to be purged. If they're not, so my question is, if we're doing outreach to them, does that reset the clock?
So this is only outreach to registered voters, active registered voters. So when we do that, you don't vote in 2 general elections, all those voters are already in the inactive file. So they're inactive, we're waiting for confirmation that they do no longer live here, whether that's a signature from the voter, et cetera, but those are inactive. They're not in our active registered voter list.
Yeah, Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yeah, those are the 2 things that bother me a little bit too. The staff training and the stress training. The only reason that is people that are looking at this as this is Zuckerberg money. I don't think they would want it to pay for Zuckerberg training. So, I mean, it's a $19,000. If we could easily take that up. I'm talking right now, if that's okay. Appreciate it. And then the other one is the voter outreach. So if we were to take those 2 off, that's $98,000. We're over $95,000 on this thing right now. So that would just about make it an even wash. We'd be paying back our general fund and, hopefully taking the 2 things out that I might have a concern with.
I'll give free advice. Diet and exercise are the 2 biggest things for stress reduction. Yes. CEO Rickert.
Okay, Chairman Cry, members of the board, one of the things.
Shut up, Kevin.
When coming back under option D was to look at potential lease reimbursement to the county for housing of elections. That's additional funds we could offset in cost with option D for lease payback if we need to get to that amount to hit the 1.5.
Supervisor Garman.
Let me turn my microphone on, sorry. Do you have anything in option D? Do you want to respond to him first?
Well, I was going to let you.
Okay.
Yeah,
option D was, when she showed all those options, option D was my first choice. I will support option A. I just feel like not accepting the whole amount of money is foolishness on our parts. Zuckerberg is not going to do the training. I would trust the registrar's office to do a proper training. It's a hard time, and you can see the elections office is getting bashed every day. So why not get some training in there and help get some stuff cleared up and make things better for our employees? So, but that's all. But I will support it, even if you guys pull those two items out. I will.
Supervisor Rickert, or CEO Rickert, are you good, Tim? Supervisor Garmin? So are you, CEO Rickert, talking about doing some combination of A and D?
What I would suggest, if it's the will of the board, approve option A and also include the leasehold that is in option D to help maximize the amount of value for the board.
I thought that option A exhausted all 1.5.
It did, and then some. 1.5.
Can you bring it back up again, Stephanie? Sorry.
I'll defer to Aaron on that, but if we did come short, we would want to go to our leasehold and reimburse the county for that expense if necessary.
One of my questions would be, I mean, if we eliminated some items like electrical updates, the tabulation room, or Democracy Live, those things, Joanna, those things have to be done.
They've already
Okay,
been done.
they've already been done. But my question is, if we take those out and we put in the payback for the move of the, but it can't be clerk, it's got to be elections office, CEO Rickert.
So, Chair Cry, in option D, the $58,000 that's in there, that's the difference in the lease payments for the elections office from when they had a shared lease with county clerk. And so that's the portion that we can recover as part of this.
So we could pull out Democracy Live and up to $58,000, remove that from option A, put in the lease payment payback, correct? Because that would come out of the ROV or election office's budget anyway.
Democracy Live's already been paid for.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is if we take that out of option A and then put in what he's talking about of option D, then that's just that much more money back to the general fund. And they've already for Democracy Live, you guys have already.
Yeah, so I think really, as long as we have items in whatever option it is that the general fund has paid for or will be paying for before December of 2024, it's really a wash, because if it wasn't paid for by this money and we've already paid for it, it's been covered by the general
But Democracy Live, but that money wouldn't go back to the general fund, correct?
Well, it would, because we've already spent that and we spent general fund money to purchase that.
Oh, that didn't come out of the ROV's budget?
Well, the ROV's budget is
Oh, that's
a
right.
general
You're
fund.
right, yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, I can totally appreciate, replacing Democracy Live with the lease, because we did want to pay for buildings out of that,
But it's all the same money.
but it's really all the same money.
Yeah. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay.
That's why it's the same money. See, where it says the same money.
Any other discussion? Joanna? Alan, did you come down? I mean, you came down. I know you're not a hologram.
Well, I heard my name.
What's that?
I didn't know if you had any, Chairman Cry and members of the board, I did review these agreements, and so if you had any questions about that, I can explain it. And so
I think by the time you got down here, we had
gotten through that part of it.
Gotten through that part, yes.
Okay. Yeah, just generally speaking, though, I would say about these, I do understand the concern of taking the money, but separate from that, these agreements, there are no strings attached, because the board itself is setting the limitations on what it will spend it on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. With that, we'll go ahead and
imagine a drone army of Mark Zuckerberg clones stomping on a human face forever.
Thank you, Chairman Cry. Can you clarify the motion one more time and make sure you included the grant agreement?
Council Larmer.
Mr. Chairman, if we could, there's been so much discussion on which option we were going to accept and whether we were going to make changes. So if we could just clarify exactly what the motion has in it.
Absolutely. So we will and pull that up, Stephanie. That's my fault.
That's a deep cut, Hack.
The motion is to accept the contract, and then in option A, we'll accept that, but we'll take out the voter education component as well as the
Makes you feel good about your brain meats, though, that you can
training, because that brings our
recognize that voice and know who it is.
We're not getting that in there anyway because we don't have that money for the grant. So those are the two items I'll remove.
And does the second agree to that motion?
I want to see what Aaron Bertain has to say first.
So I believe, I'm looking at the math, I think that would bring us right right above 1.5. But if we could amend it to say that if there's any money left over, that we could spend it to reimburse for the lease, then that would make sure we recover the entire 1.5.
Where would that, I'll totally amend it for that, but where would that money be left over? Like, these numbers are pretty hard in cost with
So
the
they are, but-
exception of the estimated costs I see. So-
Yeah, so the estimated cost, I just want to make sure that we're able to recover the entire
Okay,
1.5 and the lease
So my
cost
motion
for some
will be
cost.
to accept the contract with option A, with the omission of the voter education as well as the stress
Take out the voter education.
to the lease payback.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, I'll second.
Okay, that's a good deal. All right, so we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Supervisor Garmin.
Yes.
Supervisor Garmin,
Free money.
Yes.
Supervisor Jones,
No.
Supervisor Cry,
Yes.
and Supervisor Kellstrom.
Yes.
Okay, with that, that brings us to, we are going to adjourn for closed session. The estimated time will be,
And Chair, to clarify, we'll be recessing to closed session. We do have a closed session with outside counsel that's not available until 1:30, so my recommendation would be that we recess until 1:45.
okay, so be back here sometime around 1:45-ish. I don't know if the 1:30 will go to 2. But, and again, if there was public comment that did not submit early, we will hear those when we come back at approximately 1:45. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch. We're at recess.
Not gonna give us any good hot mic action. Boo. Boo this board. Boo. Joanna's like, get me the fuck out of here. Hello. I don't think that there's going to be much public comment after this. And if there is, I will make sure to let Dave know, and then he can do it on Catterday. And I'm going to call it a stream. So Jerry Monster doesn't rip his hair out for the rest of the day trying to concentrate on a bunch of numbers and listen to me talking smack at the same time. So we will go ahead and raid somebody. I will put on a song. We'll do a Nathan Blaze song. How's that? Let's do a Nathan Blaze song. Oh, did I kill something? What did I do? There we go. All right. We'll raid out, and thanks everybody for fucking hanging out with me. And yeah. It's oh wait, I might as well fucking do some reading out here. What's it today? Tuesday? Jesus. Don't forget tonight's down ballot. Starts at 7:30, and then public comment after that. Tomorrow, Wednesday, it's Intellectual Dollar Tree. It starts at 7. Thursday, Thetans and Satans, that's 9 o'clock. Friday is Conspiracy Bingo. Saturdays, Catterday, Sundays, Plex. And then we come back to Media Wench Monday. I promise I will do it next Monday. And that's it. Everybody have a wonderful fucking afternoon. Chill out. Go fucking listen to some fucking music or the next streamer that I'm going to pass you off to. Hang out with for the raid. It'll be good.
Hey there, fellow patriots. I've been telling you for years that I'm not a rapper and I'm not a country singer. But through the grace of God, it looks like anything's possible. Snowflake Productions. They call me the Pied Piper, spin this silk like I'm a spider. People act like rough riders, tell them pull up like a diaper. I'ma piss all in your Cheerios, they call me Tony Tiger. Can't handle whiskey neat, please get her an apple cider. sliders got piss in them. I'ma continue dissing them. I'm in your head, you listening. My words, no point dismissing them. I'm an irritation, I'm a gnat in disguise. I'm a bug zapper, I annoy flies. I'm a keeper, so I trapped her. Clever girl, a raptor. Said I'm not a rapper, guess I lied. I'll wear white to a wedding. I'll wear a flag as a shirt. You know I will. I'll wear shorts to a funeral. And I'll fart in a church. I'll ask a girl if she's pregnant. Oh yeah. I'll swear in front of your grandmother. I mean, why not? On a cold night with a lady, I hog all the covers. They call me the Pied Piper, spin the silk like I'm a spider. People act like rough riders, tell them pull up like a diaper. I'ma piss all in your Cheerios. They call me Tony Tiger, can't handle whiskey neat. Please get her an apple cider. Did I say something funny? He said sorry, nothing buddy. I said that's what I thought, honey. Then I took his lunch money, spent it on some ammunition and some pills for my erection. Can you please give me directions to the nearest insurrection? I'm what you might call a cynic. One time I made a dead baby joke at an abortion clinic. Just because security kicked me out don't mean it wasn't a banger. Nope. All I did was ask the guy sitting next to me if he had an extra coat hanger. They call me the Pied Piper, spin the silk like I'm a spider. People act like rough riders, tell them pull up like a diaper. I'ma piss all in your Cheerios. They call me Tony Tiger, can't handle whiskey neat. Please get her an apple cider. Somebody get this little bitch an apple cider. Get the hell out of my bar. You can pull me over, you can search my truck with a warrant if you got one, if not, so long. You can wait for a second while I call my lawyer. This won't take long, but don't stomp my face. Don't stomp my face. Don't stomp my face. I know my rights like 1, 2, 3, and my papers are in order, so let me be. And I do not have a warrant, so let me flee. This shit is unimportant, I have places to be. Sir, I'm just headed to work, I'm at Safeway, I work as a clerk. Why you acting like this, you a jerk? You ain't no cop, you a merc. You uptight, just get to relaxing. I'm working and paying my taxes, putting in all of this hourly, sweating and paying your salary. You can pull me over, you can search my truck with a warrant if you got one, if not, so long. I can wait for a second while I call my lawyer. This won't take long, but don't stomp my face. On your hip like you're about to pull the Draco. I see it in your eyes, you wanna turn the shit to Waco. You so damn mad like you're selling Winnebagos. Wanna drop somebody, they should call you Galileo. Mama, help me, I don't understand. I did what he said, I obeyed his commands. Lay down on the ground and I gave him my hands. They weren't even wearing no body cams. These people need better training. For the ones that are still here remaining, need better people campaigning. Someone better do some explaining. You can pull me over, you can search my truck with a warrant if you got one, if not, so long. You can wait for a second while I call my lawyer. This won't take long, but don't stomp my face. Police need to do better. It's their job to serve and protect, not harass and intimidate. They need to start wearing body cams, and we need to start holding these cops accountable.